What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
Really? And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Neither of you were just DJ or just Diggins. I was like, that's definitely what it's going to be. That or I am become DJ or I am become Diggins. One of those. So
I couldn't, just DJ or Diggins would have been good. I couldn't think of a bit. I was going to do, this is stupid, but all right, we're going to do it again.
We're going to do his weird unplaceable accent from Oppenheimer.
No. I was going to do, and I'm a letterbox version of DJ. But that felt too like inside baseball and I don't know.
You're 70 millimeter Dickens.
Yeah. I'm an 11-mile spool of DJ.
I'm D. Jiggins.
Ooh.
And that's good. Yeah.
And you guys, we got to talk about the two movies of the week. This is the Oppenheimer episode and the Barbie episode, the Barbenheimer episode.
Whoa.
A word I think I'm done with. I think I never have to hear it again for the rest of my life.
Probably.
I like those two things. I have good, positive opinions about them, but I don't. I think every time from here on that I hear it will be bad. There'll be some movie studios doing the next Barbenheimer, you know?
Because you want it to die, it means it won't. I think that's the issue. Maybe you should have embraced it more, and then it would have been like, well, we have to get rid of it now.
I know. It's like, you know, that's what happens when I embrace something. They ruin it on a TV show last week. So it's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. We can let's talk about the news of the week, which is that there's no movies anymore, you guys. The actors wanted to make movies for money that the studios didn't want to make movies for money. And then they want to do it out of the kindness of their hearts. And the writers were mean and said, no, you got to pay us, like Scrooge at Christmas. And the movies like Little Bob Cratchit were like, but please, sir, or something. Anyway, movies are good guys. Actors are bad guys. That's what they said. And they are going to push all of the movies because of the strike probably to next year. Isn't that great?
They saw that, big movies aimed at adults with, not necessarily original properties, but original stories. Can be huge smash hits that the people are hungry for them, and they said, what we need is to not show any more movies.
Yeah, I wonder, like, these are, like, we had two humongous ensemble movies, like, full of stars.
Well,
you don't think so?
I don't think Barbie's an ensemble movie. I think Barbie's like a duet. Whereas like Oppenheimer's a true ensemble movie.
I think Barbie's an ensemble movie in the sense that like Will Ferrell is like 13th build on this thing.
Okay.
Like there is so many actors in it that could be the main like guy in their own movie or just like standing around in the background. Yeah. Like Gravik from Secret Invasion. He's back.
Yeah.
Doing a little speech at the end. I like that.
They're both something of which you could plausibly say the skies are empty because all the stars are here.
Exactly. And but because of that, I wonder, like, how does that affect promotion for something like this? Like, did they, like, they weren't able to, like, post, like, I'm going to my movie, Barbie.
They did. Like, after the strike started, they did no promotion for it. In fact, the Oppenheimer cast walked out of a promotion event as soon as the strike started.
And I wonder if you could do that with Dune, which is I'd say the closest to one of these coming up, like a big ensemble full of stars movie where just go like, listen, there's 50 famous people in it. Everybody knows one of them. Everybody will know they're in Dune and then they'll be on board with Dune versus like Wonka, where it's like, if you're not really super high on Timothée Chalamet or Keegan-Michael Key or Hugh Grant, right? Yeah. Then you might miss it. But yeah, I don't know. Which movie are you the most upset that might be pushed?
Obviously, Tune.
Yeah, that is a bummer. Apparently, the final decision will be made in September. So
yeah, if the writers are starving and homeless enough to accept any deal offered to them, then Tune will still come out. But if they still insist on having human rights or whatever, then Tune is next year.
Did you see, by the way, speaking of Tune, they're filming that. Remember they said they were gonna make a Dune show or something that they kept kind of.
Did they say that?
Yeah, it was going to be like the Sisters of something or other. I don't remember what any of the things from Dune are. But apparently they started filming it in a country without unions so that they could start actually making it. So
incredible.
Yep, exactly, right. They've innovated in a way that only studios could.
They've innovated in a way that only manufacturing in the past few decades could.
Yep, it's pretty terrific. I don't think there has been any new strike stuff and stuff besides just the actors are like they're not negotiating with us.
Did we talk about how Hellboy threatened to burn down all their houses?
Oh my god. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool, wasn't it?
So there was that, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. DJ, legally speaking, there weren't any threats there. Rob Perlman was just pointing out there's a lot of ways a person can lose a house.
There's a lot of ways a person can lose a house. There's more than one. There's at least two.
Be a shame if something happened to that mansion.
Oh, I thought you guys were talking about how David Harbour threatened to burn everyone's houses down. I got confused with the other Hellboy house burn.
Gotcha. No, David Harbour said he went to all the studio executives and said, hey, listen, I know you fucking think you could be a studio executive because you did it in a video game, but this is real fucking life, all right? Just because you did something in a video game doesn't mean you could do it in real life.
David Harbour goes up to
they
every
threw up
single
on him
of them and says, you played a video game at least once in your life, which means you're the most worthless piece of human garbage that's ever walked this earth.
This really happened, he said.
We're doing that movie, right?
When does it come out?
It's like, I think it's the
pretty
week
soon,
after
right?
the Meg.
Well, we'll see if it comes out.
Hopefully. All right, listen, I've been pretty supportive of this strike so far. But if it touches my Gran Torino or Gran Turismo, whatever the fuck that's called.
Gran Torino! Yeah, the Clint Eastwood movie about how you can only be racist in the right ways.
How dare they touch my Gran Torino reboot with David Harbour and his friends. But who else is in that? Fucking what's his name? Legolas is in it, right?
Yeah,
I remember seeing him in the trailers. That's great.
Oh God.
So yeah, that'll be fun when but yeah, I think we'll do that. I mean, we'll definitely do Meg. Other movies that are coming out this year, because I know it's like most of the November ones are the ones they're gonna push. So like Dune, Aquaman, Wish, Captain Marvel, The Marvels, what else did I say? Wonka, and probably others I already forgot. But like those are the ones I keep hearing brought up. But like like the Meg, Blue Beetle, the movie that apparently Warner Brothers has decided will only make them $10 million or something like that. Something that came out today.
Wow, that is not very much for a movie like that.
I mean, it's you could achieve that if you decide it. If you go, this movie will only make us $10 million, then that's
pull off the advertising now.
Yeah, that's doable. And then, Meg, this Gran Turismo. What else? What other things have we been seeing trailers for? I feel like there's things coming.
The well is going to dry up at some point. Yeah, that's next week.
Oh, speaking of being dried up.
Turtles.
That's supposed to be really good. I saw really good reviews for that today, actually.
But like once we get to mid-August, September, we're going to be mostly nitpicking other media.
Yeah. I mean, Expendables 4, Paw Patrol.
Oh, man. We should go back and do like we should do another Expendables movie in like the lead up. I don't think I ever saw 3. I definitely saw 1 and 2.
Remember who the bad guy in 3 is?
Is that Mel Gibson bad guy?
Friend of the pod, Mel Gibson. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, no.
That's right.
Yeah. Do all of them make sure to say like, by the way, I just want to be clear, this has nothing to do with your opinion on the Jews. We don't have any problem with that. It's the other stuff that we're upset about.
Yeah. We don't like how you guys are, I don't know what they do in those movies, trying to blow up a whole place. It's not supposed to be blown up or something. I've seen all of them. I don't remember what any of them are about.
Guys, you know what we have at the end of August?
What?
Retribution, starring Liam Neeson.
Oh God, the one where he doesn't get out of his chair?
Yeah. It's true.
It's the sitting movie.
It's the sitting action
movie. The dream.
Movie.
It's the Ving Rhames movie.
Yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Yeah, they adapted that Secret Invasion show into a movie.
All of that.
But also, I was going to say, we could also do, speaking of a movie where people are actually sitting and everyone's going to the theater and seeing it, we could do that human trafficking movie that no one's at, that the movie studio bought all the tickets to. we'll have some time. I haven't quite figured out what the deal is with that.
Was
but
Freedom Reigns or something? What was the name of that
know.
movie?
It's like
Sound of
of
Freedom?
something. Yeah,
God,
that's it. Sound of
awful.
Freedom. We could do that. You know, that's pretty cool. It's the big hot movie.
Oh,
And
gosh.
but yeah, and then but I mean, you know what movie I have not heard is getting delayed, which is a good thing because it's going to be important, is Craven. That has not come up in any of these lists yet.
Oh, okay.
So probably
You
still
can't
get
miss
Craven.
Craven.
Yeah, and
Like,
Killers
if
of the Flower Moon. Are we going to do that?
I mean, I don't know how nitpickable that movie's going to be.
Yeah, and we'll see how Oppenheimer goes, I guess. If we're hilarious, then we'll probably try it. But if not, maybe not. I don't know. Either of you guys watch Venture Brothers?
No.
Not all of it.
I feel like Killers of the Flower Moon feels like a title of a Venture Brothers episode.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, I don't think it is. It'd be funny if it was, though. Like they just secretly done it. So those are the movies. They're not coming out. I mean, those will, but the ones from earlier won't. Such a shame.
Yeah.
Unless the heroic studios that we all love decide to pay anyone or not use AI, then it'll all be over. That's what I haven't tried. I haven't tried being nice to the studios yet, you know? We've all been so mean to them. But maybe if we coax them, we're like, you could be a hero, studios, if you just do a good job once.
It is so hard.
We are the main negotiators for the WGA, so we probably should, get on that.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah, they're really great. But that you guys, we got 2 movies to talk about, and I think it is time to talk about them.
We're doing it. The first ever mostly nitpicking double feature? Question mark?
So many
Absolutely
movies.
not, but something like that. One of the first couple of them. I'm almost positive we've done this before. Do you not think so?
Does DC Fandom count as a movie?
I guess we've done ones where it's like some show finale and also the movie that we didn't really want to talk about that week, where like neither of them are quite interesting enough on their own. So we've done 2, but I don't remember which ones. I'm sure there is one.
This is certainly the first time we're doing it like this format, where we let the people decide.
That's right.
And so can we talk about what we're doing and then we'll talk about it?
Yeah, Diggins, you want to get into it? I think this was your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ran a poll on x.com asking our loyal listeners.
Those who remain on x.com.
Those who remain on x.com. That's why they're loyal. They're not loyal to us. They're loyal to x.com.
Right.
If they would rather hear us talk about Barbie or Oppenheimer, and we're taking the proportion of that vote, and that is the proportionate amount of time we'll spend talking about each movie. Now, luckily, listeners, you made this extremely easy for us by doing pretty much exactly 1/3 Oppenheimer and 2/3 Barbie.
Yeah, what are the ending numbers? Do you have how many votes and how many in one direction or the other?
I don't think anyone voted for One Direction because it wasn't an option on the poll.
Imagine.
I know. I'm surprised Harry Styles wasn't in either of these, honestly.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Well, he had to, lay low for a while after Don't Worry, Darling.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to get spit on again or be spitter.
We received 883 votes, 66% of which were for Barbie and 34% of which were for Oppenheimer.
I blame people for not doing the thing that I said to do, which is vote for Oppenheimer, even though it's the less interesting of the 2, overwhelmingly. But that's probably because people just don't listen to the podcast all the way through. So I get that.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's very uninteresting and very long. So if anyone makes it to be, we can say whatever we want at the end. No one would ever know.
Yeah,
that's true. I will also say that I feel like for the purposes of our expertise, it's flipped because we are 3 white males who went to an engineering college, and we got degrees in things like engineering and physics and YouTube.
We might have been in the background to Oppenheimer. I don't even remember, but I think we may have been extras.
So I think we are overly credentialed to talk about Oppenheimer, given that. I think we are severely under-credentialed to talk about Barbie. Not that I didn't appreciate it. I'm just saying in terms of our resumes, we are...
I don't know about that, DJ. I was going to say, I wear way more vests than I do top hats. And it's not a lot of vests, but it's more than 0 top hats.
He doesn't wear a top hat. He wears a fedora.
That is definitely worse. So yes, that neither of them really.
It's worse now. Back then, fedoras were cool. Now they're not.
I know. I'm really worried that this movie will make them cool again.
You're gonna bring them
by
back.
Cool, I mean as relatively cool as they ever were. But yeah,
number 1 Halloween costume, Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Remember when he puts the hat
Halloween
on?
Costume. The number 1 couple's Halloween costume this year is going to be Oppenheimer and Barbie. I think we all know that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
true.
the tough part, though, is like all the men will want to be Ken. So they'll have to convince their girlfriend to be Oppenheimer because they still want the costume to work. Sweetie, you look so good in black and white hats and pipe and whatever else he wears.
We're Ken Penheimer.
Yeah, because I feel like out of that movie, I think Barbie has some costumes that would be fun, but the Ken costumes are the costumes. Like, those are insane.
Yeah,
He's
they
dressed
really
like a
are.
professional wrestler in every single scene he's in. It's great. Whereas she's dressed like a Barbie, which is fun. But like, yeah, like I feel like here's the difference is if I saw someone wearing Barbie outfits from this movie, part of me would be like, I think that's Barbie. Like, I think that's what she's going for. But then part of me would be like, or maybe she's just fashionable. Whereas if I saw a human being walking around wearing all the thing Ken wears at the end of this movie, I would be like, that guy is definitely doing Ken. Otherwise, he just, ran through a thrift store kind of clothing rack like a cartoon character and came out wearing a bunch of random things all together. Like, that's the only other explanation for that.
Yeah, like everything is Macklemore from that thrift shop.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I didn't even think of that when I was talking
Yeah.
about thrift shop, but you're right. He did a very Macklemore outfit at the end. Oh no,
Yeah.
never mind. They're both bad Halloween costumes. What if that actually? You know what? Now I'm thinking about it because part of me was like, what could a woman even wear as part of an Oppenheimer costume? Wear that famous black dress Florence Pugh wears in that one scene. Have you guys seen the black dress?
No.
So apparently, in countries
saw
where
it.
they don't like that she is naked in that one scene, they have photoshopped a black dress over her to make it look like she's wearing clothes.
Interesting.
In which scene?
The second one. The one where they're just sitting around. I mean, I assume then they just cut out that first scene. But yeah, there's certain countries, I don't remember which ones. I'm going to take a wild guess and say Saudi Arabia is one of them, where they added a black dress to Florence Pugh's character, which is very funny. It's just embarrassing, I guess.
But Oppenheimer's still naked. He's still...
Well, like, he's naked, but like in that weird little way that like the Flash is naked in the movie where he's covering up all his bits, but you can see his little butt kind of.
We still have not had what I've been demanding, which is full frontal.
I know. Honestly,
from a man specifically.
If we're talking about which man in which movie has more of a penis, the jury's out as far as I'm concerned. Because yes, Ken explicitly does not have a penis, but also nothing on the Oppenheimer front that proves it otherwise.
That's
yeah,
true.
We can't say one way or the other with Oppenheimer.
Could be totally smooth down there.
They might be. What did she call it in the movie? Like a not lump, blob, a smooth blob.
Smooth blob. Yep.
Yeah. But let's talk about Oppenheimer first. I have a 30-minute counter. I'm going to press start on when we say the first to go. Are you guys both ready?
Well, wait. Are we going to do the game?
Yeah, well, we'll do that as part of the 30 minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
So here we go.
Maybe make it 45.
All right, I'll do 45 minutes on the clock. All right,
We'll
3, 2, 1, begin. Okay, so Oppenheimer. Who's in charge of the game? How are we going to do the game, by the way?
I guess
the
it's
person who wins gets to do Barbie immediately?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess so. Well, DJ, you're in charge then? Or
Yes,
Nando
that's
is?
right. No, DJ is.
Yeah, I'm in charge of Oppenheimer, and then I'll have to play Barbie. So that's fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let me make sure to pull up the Oppenheimer summary, not Okay, so we played the IMDb.
Wait.
Spelling. Wait, what?
Didn't we have another idea for this? Where like
we were gonna do them both.
we're gonna do both, and then you end it with meanwhile, and then you do the rest of it. So we're gonna do both summaries, so you don't have to do either of them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think that was what I said we do last week. We don't have to go with it, but I do remember. I was like, we did pitch something for this. It's up to you.
Let's start with Oppenheimer and see where it goes. I feel bad.
We could just do Oppenheimer.
Okay.
He's been practicing his Barbie summary all week. It would be unfair to take it away from him.
You better make sure you lose then, Nando.
Yeah.
That Barbie summary.
It's IMDb Bees and Summering, where I, DJ, the IMDb keeper, will host the game where Nando and Diggins have to guess the summary of Oppenheimer. And how'd they come up with it? Well, since we're short on time, it's the story of, the father of IMDb.com saying, here's the summaries, boys. And then he did it. He wrote all the summaries. And he got really famous for it. And some people were mad that he got famous for it. But you know what? He was a smart guy who came with IMDb.com. And did IMDb.com hurt people? No. So there's no moral conundrums. Everything's totally fine. There's nothing to worry about this guy.
This week, I'd like to change the name of it just for this episode.
Okay.
Can we call it the IMDb Come Death?
IMDb Come Death. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. It's just I'm going to say it as many times as I can in this episode.
Okay.
Because it's the sexiest word you can say as far as I'm concerned. But we'll
The
get to
sexiest
it.
phrase, yeah.
Yeah, the sexiest phrase, right?
Especially if you slightly change the spelling of become. Am I right, fellas?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
That's great.
Well, speaking of IMDb, I would say this summary is IMD basic. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If we have to go to a tiebreaker, I quit. I trust one of you to get this. I hope you both do so well that it's so hard for me to pick between the two of you. So who gets to start?
Diggins, I think, because I think I was in charge.
All right,
last
Diggins,
week.
give me your or would you like to go first or second?
Wait, what did we do last week?
Last
Dead
week?
Reckoning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was in last week. I played last week, I think.
Okay.
Because I definitely did the Haunted Mansion summary, which was 2 weeks ago. There's no way I was not.
Well, has DJ's already looked at this Oppenheimer summary, so it's too late.
Did you do the Mission Impossible
Wait.
summary, Diggins?
I participated and then lost and had to summarize the movie.
Oh, so did I win Mission Impossible? Oh no, I might have.
Oh my god.
So I guess I'll do Barbie.
Yep.
Whatever.
So,
I don't
DJ's
know.
already looked at Oppenheimer. We're locked in on this configuration.
Yeah, we're locked in. All right, DJ. So Diggins get to go first or second.
I will go first.
Okay.
DJ, you said it's very basic.
Yeah, I did.
All right,
IMD become death.
Story of the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb.
Aww.
All right. Go,
I'm gonna
Nando.
I'm gonna say I like that. I like that a lot. I was gonna say it a little different. I want to add one detail. It's gonna be
Okay.
The story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the scientist, the physicist who created the Manhattan Project, and the ramifications of unleashing the atomic bomb on society.
I'm sorry, Nando. You won last week, but you lost right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you crushed it, Diggins. The story of American scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb.
Is he American? I know they said he is.
He
Yeah.
is.
Was his accent supposed to be from somewhere?
His accent is supposed to be Cillian Murphy is Irish.
Yeah, part of me kept going like, is he like he keeps saying because he says he's from New York, I believe, at one point, and obviously lives in New Mexico for a while. So I'm like, but yeah. Anyway,
Also
sorry,
Cillian Murphy.
You know,
that's right.
right? Sorry, Cillian Murphy. You know where he was born, fellas?
Where?
New Jersey, baby.
Hey,
Where in
that's
New Jersey?
great.
Princeton.
Oh,
Oh
No,
wow.
wait, I'm an
Wait.
idiot. That's where he died.
I
was gonna say.
He was born in New York. He was born in.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Other side of the park.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
now this is confusing. Nando's gonna do Barbie, even though he just lost.
I don't know.
I
We'll
guess.
see. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Because first I have to summarize this movie. I have to summarize.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just really quick. Make it short.
All right. So, okay. The way the movie portrays it, like the way the movie puts all this action together, Oppenheimer is a guy who gets a job at Princeton from Robert Downey Jr. And he goes and talks to Albert Einstein. Then Robert Downey Jr. in black and white is doing some sort of confirmation trial or something. He's a senator. It's the 60s or
He is
something.
not a senator. He is
Oh,
at a
that's right.
confirmation hearing for his appointment as Commerce Secretary.
That's right. Yeah, he's just some guy.
Former chair of the Atomic Energy Commission.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's
Louis
connected to
Strauss.
Oppenheimer, and he's worried that he's going to get in trouble because of his Oppenheimer connection. And little Han Solo is like, "Don't worry, it'll be fine." And he's like, "But remember all that stuff about Oppenheimer?" And then the screen gets all wavy, and then we mostly do Oppenheimer stuff for a while, and it like does harps. And then mostly Oppenheimer's story is he was a guy who cheated on his wife a couple times or whatever. I guess he wasn't cheating on his wife at the time, but that is like a through line throughout the movie. And I can't remember when it happens.
He slept with a woman who was married.
He slept with a woman that was married, but then later he's
Also
like,
did it again.
yeah, he's like, yo,
Florence Pugh is not married, but then he sleeps with a married woman who becomes his wife.
Right.
that's right.
And then also continues sleeping with Florence Pugh and also other people, but it's not a big focus of the movie.
Yeah,
Also, I
he
thought
just
Florence
kind of
Pugh
brings
was
it up.
Married. She was
I don't
married.
believe so.
I don't think she
Okay.
was. No.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, so he's a philanderer. He's also a scientist who almost kills his teacher in a way that's pretty funny. Before he meets Niels Bohr, who is like, "Oh, Oppenheimer, you're so cool and good at math and stuff." And Oppenheimer has little visions where he sees lines and stuff. So then Oppenheimer goes and works at Princeton. No, wait, not Princeton. Where's he working in the beginning of the movie? With Josh Hartnett.
Berkeley.
Yeah.
Berkeley, yeah. So he's working with Josh Hartnett at Berkeley, and he's a little bit of a communist, not really, but that's a whole thing. And then they're like, oh my God, they're doing atomic bombs or something. They did fusion, one of them, fission, I'm going to say. And then they go, yeah. So then they go and they're like, oh man, we did it in the lab yesterday too. Isn't that sick as hell? And Oppenheimer's like, that is sick as hell. And here's how we'll figure it out. And then he does more science. And then Matt Damon, who's in the military, is like, we're going to do the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer. We're going to try to figure out how to make an atomic bomb. And because we need to beat the Germans, because the Germans are on their way. They got a year's head start on us, Oppenheimer. Oppie. They call him Oppie in the movie. I know we're going to say that and it'll sound like a joke. But that's what they call him. Anyway, not everybody calls him that. But he's like, it's an Oppenheimer, let's do a Manhattan Project. They assemble all the scientists. The guy from The Boys is there. Some other characters you'd probably recognize. Benny Safdie is there. And they all do the Manhattan Project for a while. And Oppenheimer's like, this is going to be hard. They build a little town. And then they do it, and they do a bomb explosion. And everybody's like, woo, that was interesting. And then the army takes it away. And then they go, uh-oh. And then they drop the bombs on Japan. Very, very sad. The movie, this is where Oppenheimer goes like, uh-oh, this was a mistake. I remember that scene from when I had sex with Florence Pugh and I said my famous catchphrase for the first time. And now I'm like, this is my famous catchphrase forever. So then he goes to talk to the president at the time, who is Woodrow Wilson, I think. And Truman. Yeah.
Played by Gary Oldman.
Yep. We're still letting him into movie sets, apparently. So Woodrow Wilson is, or Truman.
He's dead. Long dead.
Yep. Truman is like, hey, fuck you, Oppenheimer. I thought you were cool and tough, but instead you're a little wimp. And then Oppenheimer starts saying bad things about the government and about the atomic bomb. That gets Strauss in trouble. And Strauss is like, oh man, I'm going to be in trouble because of all the great things I did for J. Robert Oppenheimer, my friend. And then Rami Malek comes out in the hearing and he's like, by the way, this is a Christopher Nolan movie. So the twist ending is that you were actually the bad guy the whole time. And he gets fired from the Senate. And Alden Ehrenreich does a little bit of snark at him. And then you go flashback to Oppenheimer telling Albert Einstein that they destroyed the world. And then we watch a bunch of bombs explode in Oppenheimer's head. And then it's the end.
Or in the future, who's to say?
Or in the future. Well, I don't think he'll be there. But yeah, in the future, he may have seen them. He may have guessed what they'll all look like. But yeah, that is the ending of the movie. Oh, yeah. But also throughout the movie, because it's tough. It's a Nolan movie, so there's also like all kinds of bullshit with timelines and like what the movie is taking place. So one of the things take place in the movie is the guy from from Terminator, the one where he's a little liquid metal guy, is like, I am gonna get you, Robert Oppenheimer, in a little court case that we're doing in a room, and everybody from his life comes and yells at him or says nice things, and then his wife says nice things. And then he still gets fired from Army for being in trouble in that room. And that happened after the atomic bomb, but before the Strauss confirmation hearing. That was important. That stuff's in black and white, I think. I can't remember. Some of it's in black and white, some's not.
Strauss is in black and white.
Just Strauss. Okay, yeah. I'd say, that's the movie.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Were there any cameos or like major characters I forgot? Because I do think I almost forgot Matt Damon, and There's
didn't. But so many gosh darn characters
ridiculous.
And cameos
you got
in this movie.
Casey Affleck, who's the bad army man who just hates Oppenheimer so much.
Apparently, they're still letting him on movie sets too. I don't know.
Crazy. But yeah, no. Well, he doesn't hate Oppenheimer specifically. He hates anyone.
Yeah.
He hates commies really a lot.
The Red Menace, better dead than red.
A lot of this movie is about unionizing in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
that's
one of the things Oppenheimer gets in trouble for.
Yep, it's great. Last week was about a movie about AI taking everyone's jobs, and this week it's a movie about the hero who tried to make a union, and then they didn't let him, and then he killed a lot of people and was sad about it forever. So Hollywood, take notice. But yeah, so Diggins is the winner of the IMDb Come Death. What do you think of Oppenheimer?
I honestly liked Oppenheimer a lot more than I thought I would. I feel like a lot of later day Christopher Nolan movies, I never dislike them. I often enjoy them, but I feel like I enjoy them at kind of a remove where my enjoyment is more intellectual than emotional. I think Tenet is the biggest example of that, where it's like, I enjoy Tenet as like a little mind puzzle to work out what's happening and why in every scene.
Oh my God! Christopher Nolan just orgasmed somewhere when you said, "I enjoyed Tenet as a little mind puzzle."
He's gonna divorce his wife and marry you. Like,
he could divorce the IMAX camera and marry you.
I was going to say in a way that I believe was intentional, but I see you all got that anyway.
I am become tensional. That's right.
But I feel like this movie really nails the parts of filmmaking that I have felt was a little lacking in Christopher Nolan's recent oeuvre, where it really does kind of get the kind of emotion and the urgency of its subject matter, where like that anxiety of like living in the nuclear age and like what Oppenheimer unleashes, and also like the complexity of his life. Like, it's so hard to make any kind of movie about a figure that feels actually complex, that doesn't feel like it's entirely sympathetic or entirely antagonistic to someone. But I feel like he actually does a pretty good job of that here, where I see it and I'm like, I understand how there are good and bad parts of Oppenheimer in his life, and like how the things about him led him to, you know, be open to leftist intellectual ideas and like try to unionize and that, but also led him to be so excited about the science of the atomic bomb that he never considered what it meant until after it was too late. I don't know. I think the movie was super effective at all that. I love the abstract ways it kind of depicts that anxiety that he has about it. Sort of like the impressionistic images, and like that one big scene at the victory party for We Built the Bomb, where he starts dissociating. I thought all that stuff was really great. So yeah, I really like this movie. I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. What about you, Nando? What did you think about Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I think I was a little bit more going in like, I think I'm gonna like this, because I mostly don't like the Christopher Nolan movies where, oh, well, that's not fair. I think when Christopher Nolan writes a story based on his own like thing that he's thinking about in his head, well, that's not true either, because I like Prestige a lot. I think Prestige is good, but I think like
Prestige is based on a book.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah, so there you go.
I will say though, having read that book, I think the movie is way better.
So, and I think like, but like Tenet, Dunkirk, well, Inception's probably all him too, right? I don't know. I don't have a really strong like sense for what his deal is and what I like
also,
about
Dunkirk
him.
Well, yeah, Dunkirk's
also
not all
based
him.
on a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really, I kind of forget about Dunkirk every so often. Only in looking it up just now, I was like, oh yeah, he did Dunkirk.
It's his best one.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, yes.
But it's tough with him because sometimes like Tenet, it gets really like, I guess whenever Christopher Nolan, and he does this a little bit in this one, and I didn't hate it as much, but like whenever Christopher Nolan gets really up his own butt and like names the main character protagonist and stuff, and it gets so abstract, and every movie is about filmmaking somehow, like it just sometimes it's a little much and it becomes a little hard to take seriously. And I think because this movie had to be about a real guy who more or less existed, and it seems like they got like most of his stuff somewhat accurate. Like I think it felt like a movie that portrayed this character not just in a way that was like fair, but in a way that was like not. I guess its fairness was fair to him and fair to history, in that it wasn't a super rosy biopic of him. And I think all the Strauss stuff is weird, but overall, yeah, I think this movie's good. I think all the acting is good. I think the camera's good. All the parts are good. I like all the CGI that doesn't exist, and like all that Christopher Nolan has this weird like thing where he doesn't like, he pretends everything's real. But I don't know. I hear that was a thing. Do either guys see this? They didn't credit some CGI artists or like or behind the scenes people in the movie. Yeah, apparently. I don't know.
That sucks.
Well, but Christopher Nolan specifically likes to be like, I didn't use any fake stuff in this movie. It's all real. Everything's real. And that's fine. You do what you do. But I saw it in IMAX too, and I thought it was good in IMAX. I don't know what it was like in non IMAX, but I've heard kind of horror stories.
IMAX, so.
Same here.
Okay, yeah.
None of us will ever know what it was to see it in like letterbox and picture box, like the double cutoff or whatever.
Yeah, it feels like some theaters just didn't quite know what to do with this one. Yeah. But the one I saw it in was good. My crowd liked it. I think it was very effective. I think it's very like after the bomb goes off, and then it's clear that in his head he's always going to be a little bit like anxious that the bomb is going to go off again, or that like that is the manifestation of his anxiety. The movie gets super tense, and I thought that was great. I do think the movie kind of loses steam with all this Strauss stuff, and I didn't really care about it at the end. But overall, I think the movie had enough cool stuff going on that I'd agree. It's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie ever, but it's easily like a top 3 for me in terms of just being a good movie. And you know what? It's long as hell, and I didn't mind that much, which is always a good sign. And a little Han Solo's in it, and he's pretty good. So yeah. DJ, what about you? What do you think of Oppenheimer?
Wait, it's you? No, it is me. Sorry.
He
What did I
literally
think?
just finished.
Ah,
what are you
I
talking
liked
about?
it. I was actually a big fan of Oppenheimer. No, I'll go again.
Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Jesus. No, I loved it. So it's not my favorite Nolan movie. It might be too. Dunkirk's my favorite. I think Dunkirk's like a masterclass. But
Really?
oh yeah, I think Dunkirk is done so well. I was like edge of my seat Dunkirk the entire time. And even the second
hold
time I
on.
watched it, I'm like, this is so fucking good.
Let's
I
do
love
this.
Dunkirk.
Rank your top 3 Nolan movies. You do it, and then I'll do it. Then Diggins does it.
Damn it.
I want to get everybody's on this,
So
on the record.
Oppenheimer has to be there. So I'm gonna do Dunkirk. Fuck. Oh my god. I'm gonna do Dunkirk. Do the Batman movies count? I kind of want to do non-Batman category.
No, he
they
didn't
count.
make those, actually. Yeah, no, of course they count. He made them. I don't know.
Yeah.
God damn it! All right,
Why
fine.
would they not count?
I don't
'Cause
know.
there's-
They're different. All right,
That's true.
Dunkirk. Dunkirk, The Prestige, Oppenheimer. There.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Begins, Oppenheimer, Prestige, Batman Begins. I'm trying to
Okay.
figure out if Inception gets in there, squeaks in, but I don't think it does. It's those 3 for me.
Okay.
Diggins, what about you?
I would say The Prestige, Oppenheimer, Dark Knight.
Okay. All right.
Good to know. So fuck that movie with Al Pacino where they run around on logs, right? I don't remember what that's called, but I didn't really like
And I
it.
haven't seen all of his movies, so that might change if I had.
There's Interstellar's the other one, right? That a lot of people
Oh,
like that I
yeah.
feel like kind of gets forgotten about sometimes.
I've
on
actually
these
never seen
lists.
Interstellar.
I
really?
enjoy Interstellar, but I know a lot of people have problems with it.
Interstellar feels like when, and I'm probably wrong about this, and I think I'm close, if not right. He got very into like tone and vibes and stuff like that, and kind of moved away from plot as like the main driver for a lot of his stories. And that's not something that I dislike about him, but it is like I just enjoy some of his movies that are pretty rigidly plotted. Because I think he is able to do that well. So that's why I like Prestige and Batman Begins. I think are probably my 2 favorites. But with this one, it is both rigidly plotted and also kind of vibesy. So I think it's the best of both worlds. Anyway, DJ, back to you.
Right, things I think.
The review. Yeah.
So to add, like, I guess my take beyond what you guys say, because I agree completely with everything what you guys said. I think, like, at a very basic level, what's very good about this movie, which I can't think of another movie, like a true ensemble piece that Nolan has done. Like, maybe Dunkirk, but it's a bit all over the place. I think that, like, it's so great to just see good actors on the screen doing, like, good acting. Like, I know, like, a lot of the complaints, it's like, oh, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh got, like, no screen time. And it's like, I get it. Like, I don't know. Like, you want to show those relationships that Oppenheimer has, but, like, it's about him building bomb stuff. So, like, I get it. I think the parts with Emily Blunt where she's, defending him at the hearing are really good. Where she's kind of poking him. It's like, you will just, like, sit there and eat shit while people just talk shitty about you. And I think that sucks. And I'm like, that does suck. And just like all the character developments where even like the characters who like aren't on screen had to have a lot of screen time, like your Casey Affleck's, like you get what their deal is. And because it's very contextual and it's narrated well. And I think too, because like the movie is about the making of the atomic bomb. And Nando, I think you said this on your review on your YouTube channel, but like the over the top like dialogue where it's like we are all godlike figures, like it might not make sense in like Inception because I don't know, you're not going to really convince me on the stakes of this one. It really seems like local to you guys. But with this, it's like, yes, this is very serious, and I believe everything everyone is saying. So I just think it presented the gravity so well. That scene in the like the gymnasium in Los Alamos where he's doing the victory speech and like it's the stomping and the explosions and like the surrealism of just him like not being able to grapple with like what just happened, like them dropping it is fucking incredible. And I was like scared watching that scene. It's so good. So yeah, like top marks. I know I won't be able to see this movie again in theaters, but I want to. I just like do not have time. But I'll watch it again on my TV a lot. I'll watch it with Michelle. She wants to see it, but not go to a theater to see it. Just because, like I mentioned, it's hard with baby. But we did for Barbie. But yeah, it's very good, and I love this movie. And part of me was like, well, I want Nolan to make more movies like this, but you know what? I think I'm okay with Nolan maybe fucking around and doing like another Tenet. Like, man, you did this. You did the right thing. You made a good movie we all loved. If you want to fuck around for a little bit, fuck around for a little bit. You've earned it. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, you made a good movie, so go ahead and make another bad movie. Get one out of your system.
Yeah, man.
Tenet's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
One for me, one for them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a selfish movie goer. I'm very empathetic.
What what did you think? What was the weirdest part of this movie?
Okay, the scene where Oppenheimer is in, I'm gonna call him Oppie. We call him Oppie, right? Where Oppie's in the like little shitty interrogation room, and they're going over the affair with Florence Pugh, and like he's there naked, which I get it. Like I totally got the metaphor.
So funny.
And Florence Pugh's fucking him while looking at Emily Blunt. I'm like, all right, like I get it. But like, if this was a movie I wanted to watch like with my son, because I'm like, oh, the atomic bomb, this is a good movie, I'd be like, all right, let's just skip this next 5 minutes.
Now, what if she was wearing a black dress? Would the black dress change it?
Yeah. Watch the Saudi Arabian version.
Yeah,
I guess maybe for my prudish sensibility, but like for weirdest scene, that's like my vote. I don't know. What about you? What do you guys?
Oh no, I agree. My audience laughed at that. I think
laughed. Oh man,
yes, like not laughed, but like giggled, and like you could hear. Not even just like an uncomfortableness with like that woman is naked and he is naked, but just like, all right, Christopher Nolan, we get it. It's very
infidelity
very
bad.
Yeah, you like I do think there is a little bit of the that old like I know writers who use subtext in their cowards bit with that and with everything Florence Pugh does. In fact, the fact that they are sitting naked on big old chairs together just talking is very like Christopher Nolan-y. Like I respect him. He's a great filmmaker. He's one of our best. Currently, I think at like what he's doing and being like as close to an auteur as he can be without being like Wes Anderson or something like that. But like he's got it. But at the same time, he just does something about the sex scenes and the Florence Pugh stuff was so much. And there were some scenes that were really good. I do think one of the scenes that I had trouble with was with the wife, Emily Blunt. Remember the first time we hang out with her and she's like drunk with the baby?
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's out of like a Lifetime movie. Like he picks up the bottle and she's like, I can't even deal with this baby anymore. You're like, oh my God. Like, is this what this character is going to be? And they kind of figure her out over the course of the movie. But I do feel like there was a lot of like really subtle, like, him and Josh Hartnett just having a very tense conversation about stuff. And then we went home to Days of Our Lives for a second, and it was a little much. And obviously the sex scene with Florence Pugh, the first one's very bad, where she picks up the book and puts it over her boobies and he reads his famous catchphrase. It's insane.
The guy who Oppie's like, hey, watch my baby, bro. That guy's the one who he sells out later to Casey Affleck, soldier who hates commies.
Yes.
That's fucked up, bro.
He tries not to sell him out. He tries to sell out just the guy he was talking about.
Right.
But eventually, does give up.
And is that the guy whose wife he sleeps with too?
No, that's someone else. I think we only ever get a glancing look at the guy whose wife he sleeps with. We see the wife a couple times, but not him really. Speaking
of characters in Justice, I do want to say, before I forget, the Mostly Nitpicking Discord channel on the server did point out that was not Shea Wiggum in Mission Impossible.
Right, listen.
That was just some guy.
Listen.
And I knew it.
I am not a clever man.
You see Shea Wiggum you are in love with him, and ever since you two broke up, you see his face everywhere. I get it.
I think based on last week's pod, if anyone on this podcast can be accused of being in love with Shea Wiggum, it is you, Nando.
That's right.
Listen, I will say the Mostly Nitpicking channel on the Nando Phoenix's Risen Discord has been bringing it.
It's too much for us. We can't stand up to that level of scrutiny.
I will collapse under any scrutiny. All of my credentials are fake. Everything I say is wrong, but said confidently. Like, you start examining what I say, and I'm ruined.
Yeah, that's most podcasters, honestly.
There is someone who made a graph of like our nitpicking to non-nitpicking ratio.
Well, on a podcast. Extensive research has led me to conclude that graph was one of those quote-unquote jokes.
That was real. That was real.
But they might do a real one for this one, so we got to keep our quota up.
This is the hardest one to nitpick. Oppenheimer has no nitpicks.
Okay, nitpicks. Number one. Too many hats. The hats are. Remember when he puts on the hat like it's Batman's gloves and stuff in the Joel Schumacher movies? Nitpick.
That and a cigarette.
Yeah. Diggins, what did you think was the weirdest scene?
Yeah, what's your vote?
My God, you guys ticked like some of the easiest ones.
Yeah, they're the ones
that he's
with
having
women
sex
because
with.
Yeah.
it's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, true. You know what I don't not get, but I was like, I feel like this does not have the weight it's supposed to. The thing of him telling his wife like bring the sheets in or don't bring the sheets in.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think you're being as cute as you think you are, Oppenheimer, in this moment.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like if he did that, the army would, because they're tapping his phone and he kind of knows it, and that's why he says that. They'd be like, what's it say in his little file? Well, right after he did the atomic bomb, he called his wife and said, bring the sheets in. Nothing wrong with that. So we'll cross that right off the list. That can't be secret code for anything. Like, it's just, it's dumb.
I did appreciate the little just digs at McCarthyism in this movie. Like, just about how like horrible the FBI was in the late 40s and early 50s. Just
J. Edgar Hoover is the recurring villain of U.S. history. It's amazing how many times a horrible thing happened in history and someone can offhandedly mention how Hoover was involved.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Speaking of recurring villains in history and like history being turned into a movie, I do think Christopher Nolan can't help himself, like with that twist and all that. But also, how about that bit? Remember in The Dark Knight Rises when the lady's like, you should use your real name, kid, Robin. Remember when I forget who says this. It might be Alden Ehrenreich. Someone's like, and that new senator said something about you. Which one? JFK.
Trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah. Oh my God, Chris Nolan, not you.
No, come on. That was the tease of the next movie in the Oppenheimer verse.
Yeah.
That was our little post-credit scene.
Spelunking in a Prohibition tunnel or something and found all his dad's old Batman gear.
He's the uncle of RFK Jr.
Yeah. The next atomic bomb, as far as I'm concerned. Special one that only attacks some people. What else was funny and weird about it?
I just want to get some commentary on you guys, like what you thought about this. Now, I don't want to jump the gun with the Is It Woke segment, but I just am curious because this has been floating around. What did you think of the fact that Cillian Murphy, famous Christian, played a Jewish man in J. Robert Oppenheimer? And anything there?
Not a fan of him in general, but if I could choose to have him not be in the movie instead of an actual person to have faith, then sure, that probably would have been better. I didn't know that guy even existed. I kind of thought they made him up for the movie. I had a feeling they had to have made somebody up because it's Nolan, and he would need someone to show up and be bad.
You thought they made up
Robert
Oppenheimer?
No. Oh, sorry. Wait, you said Cillian Murphy.
I did say Cillian Murphy.
I like Cillian Murphy. I thought it was Casey Affleck was who you said.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Casey Affleck his character was a Russian Orthodox Christian. He was the son of a minister. That was a plot point.
Yeah, I thought that guy was fake. J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Everyone in this movie is real. In fact, Christopher Nolan was obsessively dedicated to having no composite characters or like fake characters. Like
that one guy can't be real.
Which
the one at that lake with the crazy hair? That's not a real guy. That's a fake guy. I've seen fake guys before.
The guy who shows up behind a car like his fairy godmother.
Yeah. I mean, shoe fits.
Yeah.
But no, the Cillian Murphy casting, a person who I would describe as Jewish as an advent calendar. I think I'm safe there.
I mean, it is also true that I don't believe Robert Downey Jr. is Jewish, and Louis Strauss is supposed to be Jewish.
Yeah, that's fair. I get. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I guess it's not actually a problem. So,
I mean, I didn't notice. So that's how I didn't even know it was him instead of Casey Affleck. So who am I to judge? I think they're all the same guy.
I mean, if a Jewish person was like, I didn't like that, I'd be like, I mean, okay, yeah, that's your right. I have nothing to say to you about that.
All right, let me go more macro.
Bother me. Oh yeah, finish.
Okay.
It didn't personally bother me, but it didn't personally bother me because I don't think the movie only very briefly touches on the Jewishness of these characters. Like, it gets brought up a little bit, but it's not really about them and their faith. in a way that if it was, I think it would be a lot more questionable to cast non-Jewish people.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like that was a big part of it, kind of. I do think in the beginning of the movie that made sense as his main motivation for wanting to build the bomb,
Well,
wanting to stop Hitler.
Yeah, specifically to blow up Hitler, right?
So, like, I don't, or at least because Hitler was making a bomb and he was so scared of that as like a not that, you know, you had to be that to be scared of World War II. But like, it did feel personal to him in that way. Yeah, I don't know.
It came up a little bit. Who was the guy who played his friend who was also Jewish? That was
Is that
like
Krumholtz? Is that him?
yes. It was like
I think so.
You're the great improviser. You can't do this in your head. That guy who kept offering him oranges, who said he's a great American.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's David Krumholtz. That's that actor's name? Google it.
Well, anyway, while you Google that, it came up a little bit on the train scene. Like I think they talked about it. See, that's like the from like a historical point. Like you wonder like how much of him like being Jewish like played into that, because I get what your point is, Diggins. The movie's not really about that, but like there's a reading of it where it could be, because it's like, well, we got to stop Hitler. He's committing genocide against my people. So you know,
I guess the one thing about Oppenheimer and representation in general is like, I don't think anyone is, but I don't think this is like a person anyone's super hype on claiming as like he's one of our guys,
Yeah.
the great hero, Robert Oppenheimer. So I guess that part of it is why they were able to get away with it. And like also Strauss, another, I guess, famous villain of history that I've never heard of. But like that's probably why I imagine I hadn't heard anything about it. But yeah,
I do appreciate that Christopher Nolan kind of pivoting, because I hated the question I asked. Took something as like typically innocuous as like a Senate confirmation hearing for like a cabinet member and makes it like high drama. Like I do think that takes like a level of skill that's like, what's the thing going to be here? And it's like, oh, he didn't get confirmed, which to be fair, like rarely does happen. Like most people put up for Senate confirmation hearings get confirmed. So
Especially at that period of time, like
yeah.
it had only happened like baby Han Solo says it in a way where I'm like, that's not that long. Where he's like, oh, last person not to get confirmed was in like the late 1920s or something, and I'm like, that wasn't that long ago then. But
yeah,
that's
true.
The much more reassuring statistic that he could have said is it has literally only happened 8 times in the entirety of U.S. history at that point.
Yeah,
that someone had not been confirmed by the Senate.
Speaking of preposterous stuff in Little Han Solo, how about that Christopher Nolanism? I honestly can't even remember what the line is, but I know kind of the meter of it. When in the beginning of the movie, Robert Downey Jr. says to Little Han Solo something along the lines of ba 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 ba, and then later in the movie, when Alden Ehrenreich is doing his big twist, he says ba 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 back to him, and
Yes.
like a manner.
Yes.
Like, oh, it's what was the thing that he says in Batman Begins that like Morgan Freeman says back to the evil businessman?
You didn't get the memo?
Yeah, it's one of those lines. Christopher Nolan loves those lines. Oh,
Are you talking about the one where he's like,
what is the line?
why hold the knife yourself when you can give it to someone else?
Perhaps. Yeah, that sounds right.
No, I think it was a different one, because that was just like a rephrasing of a thing where it's like, oh, you said that because you do it, but this was more like a clapback. Like,
yeah,
it's like a counterattack of like, I'm using this against you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can picture the moment in my head, but I don't remember the line. How was, by the way, speaking of lines, how's everybody's volume during this? Can everybody hear all the lines?
Yeah, I had no problem with that. Why did you?
Me too.
Okay.
No, I've heard people in not IMAX theaters and like bad like theaters, and not bad theaters that aren't IMAX theaters. Like all IMAX theaters are good, but like theater, like just movie, theaters that are generally kind of poorly kept up and don't have great sound. People complain about this, but not nearly as much as about Tenet. So it seems like he's more or less figured it out.
I have a nitpick to add to the nitpick tally. I don't know if this counts. While I appreciate that Nolan is like, I love film so fucking much, like I literally love film, and I want to film in black and white and IMAX and 70 millimeter. I was watching the Red Letter Media review of Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And they're like, we didn't see this in IMAX because there are like 3 IMAXs in all of Wisconsin. So like, I do feel for people who like, I have an IMAX. If I want to go see an IMAX, I have like plenty of choices to go see IMAX, but like that is not true for everyone else. And it's like, I don't know, Nolan, I don't know what you need to do to fix this, but it is kind of shitty that your movies are only accessible to people who can get to IMAX theaters because you love it so fucking much.
Yeah, there's something that comes off a little bit, not quite snobbish about that, but like just the best way to see my movie is with the most expensive ticket. Like,
Yeah.
drive as far as you can and go see my 3-hour-long movie. Get a babysitter for as much time as a movie could possibly be. And then, like, I don't know. I do think in terms of like sound mixing, again, I think it's better than usual, which does make his movies far less accessible in the wrong conditions. But yeah, and it doesn't help that he was the first, like, movie theaters are open, everyone come back to movie theaters. It's the only way to watch Tenet. And like, I don't know. I kind of like him in general. Like, I think I respect him, but at the same time, anybody who does this always is a little bit like bugs me. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not gonna change. It's gonna be this. If they ever invent like fucking IMAX Plus or whatever, he'll be all over it. If they ever invent some kind of like movie theater film where it's literally only watchable in one movie theater in the world, Nolan will make a movie for that theater because it's the best one. That's just how he does it.
Well, and it is tough because, like, in this current modern day where you can't, like, either you get this where a movie theater, like, is the main viewing point for the movie and, like, that is the frame that Christopher Nolan's making the movie for, or it's like the Netflix movies that all look like kind of bad because they're all optimized to be watched on, like, a phone and they don't have a lot of detail and everything's always in the center of the frame. Like, I think I prefer this version of it, but I just wish it was easier to scale some of this stuff down. Yeah. And like, I don't want to say all the theaters should be bought by one theater that really standardizes it, but I do wish in theaters in general there was more quality control for stuff like sound systems and like, yeah, projection. Not that I don't think the projections are doing a good job, or it seems tough. Like even with Spider-Verse, I remember that was a problem where like some of the projectionists weren't playing the audio at the right level, and they were like, yeah, they didn't tell us to, or something like that. So I understand that conundrum.
I mean, we'd have to, like, pay theater workers a good wage and, like, have standards about the quality instead of just shoveling everything out as soon as possible in the sake of profit.
Or we could get an AI to do it. I don't know if anyone's checked in and a little robot can do it, but that might be the solution that they end up going with.
Love it.
Yeah, any other thoughts about Oppenheimer? We're kicking up against the Barbenheimer limit.
I wanted to say real quick, this thing with Truman where he handed him a handkerchief and was like, you want to wipe your hands? Yeah. That really happened. That's really
crazy.
Love that.
Right? Yeah. And like, listen, I don't respect Truman for that, but I also like, there's something about a villain of history who's like, yeah, I'm a villain of history. I did bad thing, and I've made peace with that. Like, I'm like, interesting, very interesting.
An interesting thing about this movie is his critics, while clearly like bad people, like Strauss and like Truman in that scene, are not entirely wrong. Where they're like, oh, you put all that work into building the bomb, and you cultivate your reputation as the father of the atomic bomb. But anytime it's about like people dying or bad things, then you want to cry and be like, oh, I hate this actually. Like, which is a perhaps harsh interpretation of his feelings, but not an invalid one.
Yeah, I mean it's good that in the movie we do see a fair amount of characters throughout the building of the atomic bomb be like, hey, maybe don't do that. And Oppenheimer's like, but I must. So it's like, if Oppenheimer really, if the movie kind of made this case without showing those people, you would feel like, yeah, but the army just made him, and there was never any, angel on his shoulder telling him not to do this. But yeah, the movie does make the case for like, he had outs. I mean, he probably didn't, because I'm sure Matt Damon would have just picked him up and thrown him in that train if he didn't already go. Like, because Matt Damon was so angry the whole time, but also he was a hero at the end because he said Oppenheimer was cool. Remember that?
One final-ish question. I don't know how much time we have. Favorite non-Oppie actor? I say that because mine was Matt Damon. I thought Matt Damon was awesome.
I liked Krumholtz, now that I think about it.
Really?
That character was good. Yeah. I think out of all the characters who like felt like actual people in history and not just Jack Quaid, not to make him, because he does look exactly like that guy. But and I think he was good, but like Krumholtz or Benny Safdie. I think Benny Safdie was probably my favorite.
Okay.
The guy who put the sunscreen on. Yeah. What about you, Diggins?
I like Tom Conti as Einstein because he just always looks so sad.
did look sad.
Was Einstein always that sad? He had that picture where he stuck his tongue out.
That's true.
So
well,
fun.
I mean,
Well-
he wasn't in a roller coaster in this movie. He was at solid ground, moving at 0. He hates that.
Yeah, I mean, every time we see him in the movie is him talking to Oppenheimer about the thing that he famously was the largest regret of his life. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's fair.
yeah, I think it's fair that he's sad in all those scenes.
Why, Robert, did you not build King's a car instead of build atomic bomb? I would be so happy.
I also gotta say, if it's true that these fuckers were like, oh, we might ignite the atmosphere in a never-ending chain reaction.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Well, fuck them. They shouldn't have done it then. That's crazy. What,
Is that the only reason they shouldn't have done it, DJ?
well,
I
that's a
mean-
big one. I think that's a big one.
that's a big one in terms of like, even if you really want to end this war, it's like, I guess that'll end the war. But
I mean-
like, if you think that, building the atomic bomb is actually going to be good for the whole planet because of all the stuff you said, then like, it's almost true, except for that time you thought you blew up the atmosphere. Then that would have been bad for everybody immediately.
I mean, to be fair, that is, I feel like the scientists don't convey this necessarily appropriately to like Matt Damon in the movie, but like it is true in the same way when the Large Hadron Collider
Yes.
was being turned on and people were like, it could destroy the universe or whatever. It's like, I mean, yeah, theoretically, but that's so vanishingly unlikely that it's really not worth thinking about.
Yeah, I agree. We just hit the Oppenheimer limit,
Okay.
but we haven't asked the question, so we have to real quick. Is it woke?
Yes.
Yeah, super woke.
I don't know.
It
So
thinks the
everybody's in
atomic
it
bomb
as
is
this-
bad. Well,
Yeah.
But the movie is so white. Like,
And
it
no
is maybe
women.
the whitest movie ever made. And yeah, 2 women in the whole movie. Maybe 3. Honestly, I can't remember.
There's a secretary. Does that count?
I honestly, like, you gotta really, draw at straws. I would say, I was kind of hoping we'd get a tie because the IMDb game for this would have been so weird. I can't even imagine where certain people are ranked in the thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the movie is a little bit woke because it thinks the atomic bomb is bad.
Yeah.
But it also
I-
thinks
'cause-
Russia getting the atomic bomb is bad, which is very woke these days.
That's true. But also it oh god, what was I gonna say? Shoot. Something about atomic bomb is bad.
It dresses the person that's anti-union the coolest in the whole movie, Josh Hartnett.
Oh,
He gets the waistcoat or the suit, which makes him the hero of the thing.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, and it doesn't encourage young people to become physicists the way that the social network encouraged people to be tech startup founders.
Right, that guy. Yeah, he's smart. Oh man, yeah. That's Oppenheimer. Then it's interesting. Let's switch gears a little bit and start talking about Barbie.
all right.
Real quick, for your movie theater experience, which one did you see first?
Oppenheimer.
Barbie.
Did you see them both on the same day?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Diggins, what would you say do you think you made the right decision?
I think I did.
Explain yourself.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I know a lot of people feel opposite of this, but for me, I feel like it was kind of easy. You start low, you go into the very serious, kind of anxiety inducing and at times even depressing movie. You give yourself a little time and then you go into the high energy fun one. You end on the high note. I think is good. Also, Barbie, I think ultimately may have inspired more existential terror in me than Oppenheimer did. So
That's true.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah, DJ, you said you saw both at different times and you saw Barbie first.
Yes.
Do you think you made the right decision?
I mean, I think seeing them on different days was the correct decision because I think like if I saw them on the same day, it would have like broke my brain.
And my bladder and my intestines
yeah,
and
it
stuff.
just-
I don't think
I
my
mean,
body
no
could
way.
handle it.
I didn't see them one after the other. I saw Oppenheimer in the afternoon, got dinner with friends, and then saw Barbie.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, like I saw them evening 1 and then evening 2, and seeing Barbie first. You know why? Because and this is not to like say what I thought about the movie, but like Barbie was good. I saw it and like I mostly forgot about it, and I saw Oppenheimer. It really sat with me. I think I wanted Oppenheimer to sit with me more because I appreciated it. I really wanted to think about it, and there's like a lot of elements that went into that. So I like the decision I made.
Interesting. Yeah, I did what Diggins did, but I did it the way you did. I saw Oppenheimer first and then saw Barbie, honestly, like a week and change later. And I thought I made the right decision because I don't make mistakes. And that's the one that I did. So that means it was correct. So But yeah, I don't know. I think I could be conveyed either way. You didn't talk about this either, which I'm curious. What was your theater experience like for Oppenheimer in general? What was the vibe like? Because we have to talk about that for Barbie as well.
All right, how do I put this nicely? So I saw Oppenheimer like right after I got off of work, so I saw it at like 4 o'clock. It was like a 4:15 showing, and this was like the early bird crowd, like a lot of boomers, a lot of Facebook users in my theater. So very quiet, not a lot of reactions. But like a tenseness, like an energy there, and then huge applause at the end, like at the end of the movie, just like ruckus applause. That was my Oppenheimer theater experience.
Interesting.
Mine was, I saw it Friday afternoon, so the day it came out, technically, at a big IMAX showing in New York City. So it was full of people who were like super jazzed for Oppenheimer. The mood was electric beforehand. Everyone was excited, talking, laughing. But then also, as soon as the movie started, everybody shut the fuck up and was quiet the whole time. So it was kind of perfect because you had the buzzing and the energy and people into it, but also everyone was good and respectful.
Yeah, I think this is one of those movies where if your crowd wasn't in the beginning, I think the movie could win them over or like could shut them up with like the bomb scene and stuff. Because yeah, but my theater was also pretty into it, which is nice because those are nice when that's a thing. Nice. It's great. Every movie should have a scene where the atomic bomb is dropped. It shuts up everybody in the audience. Just have the characters in Barbie watch Oppenheimer real quick in case anybody's still keeping their mouths open, and then just all the jaws drop and the phones go away, and then it's all good. But let's talk about Barbie. What was your Barbie theater experience like, DJ?
A lot of teens, a lot of people dressed up in pink, including my wife. I went with Michelle, and she dressed up in pink. I guess it's like a thing people wanted to do, and like not knocking it, like totally cool. But so a lot of teens, like older teens, like high school, college, but also like a fair amount of kids. Like Michelle was sitting next to like two kids who are probably like the 8, 9, 10 range, and like they weren't bad, and they like were like good. But
I was saying in that this is not really an appropriate movie.
Yeah, I'm with Diggins on that one.
Michelle was made uncomfortable sitting next to them when some of those scenes came up. So yeah.
Although the kids these days, they got Facebook, they got
Twitter.
Know, right?
I mean,
they got Meta, they got X. Their brains are already broken.
They got those weird AI YouTube channels that just generate child content.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird because this isn't a kids movie, which I think we'll talk about. But it was like a good vibe. Like there was a lot of engagement. The teens were like dying at every joke, and it was fine. I honestly don't find that annoying. Like if you're engaging with the movie, like I think that's fine. Like that's so much better than literally anything else you could be doing, like on a Zoom call or just shouting like random stuff. Like if you're,
I'm still gonna marry that woman one day.
I know. Like if you're just laughing really hard at every joke, I think it's fine.
I think we had some pretty interesting or people were bringing up different weird situations they had in the Discord channel. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but I don't know if it was at this screening or just other screenings for other movies they saw. But yeah, the witch is out. She's making lots of deals or whatever it is that we did wrong. She's getting hit by a lot of cars. That's all I can say.
It's true. Super true. What about you guys? What was your guys' Barbie theater experience? Diggins?
Pretty similar. I went pretty late at night because I didn't buy a ticket until day of, and turns out nearly every showing was almost totally sold out. So there weren't any children just because it was so late, but there were teens. Lots of people dressed up in pink. I saw people dressed up in pink all over the city the whole day, which is when I realized, like, oh, this movie's going to make a ton of money.
It was, what was that, by the way, like people dressing up in pink to see it? Like, is it just because, like, you feel like you're part of it? Like, I don't know, like...
sorry.
I was going to let you go.
I'm saying 50-50. Part of it is wanting to be part of it. I think part of it is wanting to be part of it instead of Oppenheimer. I think this Barbenheimer thing has created a signaling kind of, and I'm not saying like they wanted to be like, I'm not here to see that stupid Oppenheimer movie, but I do think it was like your team Barbie or team Oppenheimer, and everybody going into Oppenheimer had those stupid hats. I wish that would be so funny, but everybody going into Barbie, not everybody, but a lot of people going into Barbie had the pink on in my theater as well.
I also saw a lot of people with the Barbenheimer shirt.
The one, I mean, not but in terms of like if you saw the Twitter bots, X bots constantly pushing the Barbenheimer shirts is that's the only thing that made me a little sick of Barbenheimer as an idea. Otherwise, I think it's cool. But
I think it's cool that two very different movies aimed at adults with like not necessarily like completely original, but like not adapting something, but original stories based on existing things came out, and everyone got very excited about it. I think that's super cool, and I was very happy about it.
yeah, I do think it helps that, like, I think that we talk about the studios will learn the wrong lesson about anything, but I do think the wrong lesson they'll learn here is just like movie portmanteau or movie, not portmanteaus. Is it portmanteau?
It is actually, yeah.
Movie portmanteaus are what the people want, and the better the portmanteau, the better this is. But I think like the Barbenheimer thing is just like you can go to a movie theater and Oppenheimer sold out, and that person still wants to see Barbie. I don't think when the kids can't go see Paw Patrol, they're instead going to see Saw X. But we'll see.
Saw Patrol?
That's what they're calling it. Yeah, that's
no,
the next Barbenheimer.
no.
Oh yeah.
No,
oh yeah. I mean, it's
that can't be.
It can't be.
I mean, it's real in terms of that. There's like articles about it, and I want to say the Saw movie is making a bit of it.
Oh my god!
I don't think Paw Patrol has
I don't
quite
think the
glommed
Paw Patrol
on.
movie would.
Yeah, it feels one-sided.
Well, that's the other thing. Have you heard the story behind the Oppenheimer Barbie relationship in general?
Is it Nolan hated Warner Brothers for like being mean to him, so he put his movie against Barbie?
What's the thing that Wonka says in his trailer? Yes, wait, take that and reverse it. Warner Brothers wanted to sync Oppenheimer, according to
what?
studio legend, and they put Barbie out on the same day as Oppenheimer to potentially kill it because they were mad that Christopher Nolan left them.
Oh, I thought it was a Christopher Nolan vendetta, not a Warner Brothers vendetta.
I mean, it could be both. We'll only know when Christopher Nolan makes a movie
if you have
about
to pick
this.
someone to be a vindictive jerk, always go with the company.
I don't know.
Yeah.
British people, they're vindictive jerks when you get down to it.
Yeah, that's not a bad point.
But I do think the story, at least the way I've heard it, is that Warner Brothers did this to mess with Oppenheimer.
How interesting.
Which is so funny.
Huh.
Yeah, but they benefited because that's just how it goes, You benefit if you have, succeed. But yeah, Barbenheimer thing is interesting. Yeah. Okay. So IMDb B as in spelling bee. Does this mean Diggins goes?
Okay, so wait. Diggins won Oppenheimer, but
Right.
Nando won last week.
Right.
Yes.
So, okay. How do we do this?
I don't know. I think just the damage is done. Nando got a free win that then immediately got to compete again.
All right, so Diggins, you're doing it?
I think that's fair.
All right.
All right. So, the IMDb B as in Barbie, which is what we're doing here. We already did a joke about it before. I don't know. There's fucking worms.
Mattel said, damn it, give me a summary for IMDb, and then some poor schmuck had to go write one for this movie because Mattel said so, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody ate a bunch of worms and then vomited them back up, and the worms spell summaries. There. That's this one. So I have that worm vomit slurry for Barbie up right here, and I would say it's also pretty simple.
Oh, shit. Okay. So wait, Nando, you decide because you got screwed. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I'm going to say after Barbie, after Barbie comes to a real, I'm going to say Barbie and Ken go on a journey of discovery that leads them to exciting places in the real world. No, that's not it. I don't know. Whatever that.
All right. Is that what you're going with? All right.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna slam dunk this or give it to Nando. The story of the iconic children's doll Barbie.
Nando, you didn't do very good, but you got way closer than DJ, so I am gonna give it.
All
to
right.
you.
Well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What was it?
Barbie suffers a crisis that leads her to question her world and her existence.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I knew part of me was like, they won't say she goes to the real world because that wasn't in very much of the marketing. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know where to go with it besides that. So cool. All right, DJ, give me the Barbie summary.
All right, Barbie summary. Got this. No problem. Okay. Barbie is okay. So there's a world of Barbies, and there's Barbie, stereotypical Barbie, but there's every Barbie, and they're all called Barbie. There's also every Ken, and they're all called Ken, and there's Alan. That may or may not matter later. And there's not any of the other ones because there are other ones, but they're there and they're not. It doesn't matter.
There's other ones.
Yeah,
Midge is there.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
right.
Midge
Midge
is
is
there.
there. So right, there are other ones. They're all there, and they live in this like Barbie world. That's like it's connected to our world, but it's separate but connected. And the kids are playing with the Barbies, and that's manifesting here. And it doesn't have to make total sense because it's totally fine. But what happens is to Barbie.
Just think of it as a town in Sweden.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
And the Barbies think that they're influencing the real world as well.
Yes, right, exactly. And they have basically Barbie Utopia. The president's Barbie, the Supreme Court's Barbie. Everything's awesome and run by Barbie. And then Ken is there as well. So they're partying, and it's great. Everything's cool. Barbie has an existential crisis and starts thinking about death, and her feet are flat, and it's bad. And you all saw it in the trailer. So she goes to Kate McKinnon, who's weird Barbie, who's a Barbie who's been played with too much and is weird.
I believe the word is too hard.
Too hard, right?
Yeah.
Play with it too hard. So Kate McKinnon's like, you have to go to the real world to figure this out, and also I'm not giving you a choice. So she goes to the real world. Ken comes along too, because it's Barbie and Ken. And Barbie goes to the real world and finds out that it's horrible because of patriarchy. And people just walk up to her and slap her right on the butt. Exactly what would happen to a woman in Venice Beach. Or no, they're not.
Yeah.
They're Venice Beach. Okay?
Yeah, they're West
Venice
Coast
Beach is
people.
where
They're
they show up.
monsters.
Yeah, in Venice Beach,
Yeah.
2023, you just go up to a woman and you smack them in the butt. It's exactly what would happen.
Happens all the time on the West Coast because, as Nando said, West Coasters are basically degenerates.
Yeah, it's like what Robert Downey Jr. says in that movie. It's like they took the America by the East Coast and shook it, and everybody with sense held on. And all the monsters just fell down to the West Coast. I think that's the line in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I haven't seen it in a while.
Such a good movie.
Okay, so that happens. So she goes, and it's a crisis. Mattel finds out, led by Will Ferrell, and they're like, this is no good. We can't have Barbie out. So there's like a split. Ken learns about patriarchy and how great it is. And he's like, I gotta tell the other kids about patriarchy. Goes back to Barbie world. Barbie, like, goes to Mattel. Mattel's like, okay, put you back in the box now. And she's like, okay, but no, actually, no, not okay. So she goes, I think before this, she finds a girl who she thought was playing with her. And the girl's like, you're a fascist, Barbie. We hate you. You're everything that's wrong with society. And Barbie's like, no. But then later, Barbie is rescued by this girl's mom, America Ferrera. And the reason that Barbie has been thinking about death is because America Ferrera has been thinking about death, and they're connected. And it's like, oh no, that's really bad. So eventually they're like, all right, let's go back to Barbie world. And then back in Barbie world, they have patriarchy because Ken started up, and that's bad. So now Barbie's team up with America Ferrera and her daughter and Weird Barbie to eliminate patriarchy, which they do by explaining to women how much it doesn't make sense and how feminism is good and patriarchy is bad. And they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Patriarchy is bad.
I don't think that's exactly what happens. It's more that the idea is more that America Ferrera explains the like inherent contradictions and unfairness of life as a woman.
That's fair.
The other thing is, I'm not completely convinced that is how Ken makes the patriarchy happen. It seems like Ken brings it in, like America Ferrera says, like smallpox, and just it infects every woman's brain.
Right? Yeah. Fair enough. There was no defenses up for patriarchy. So when he's like, guys, horses and men and cars, it's like, oh, great. So that happens. So they unbrainwash all the Barbies, which is great. The Kens have an amazing dance battle beach off, which was amazing, despite the joke. The joke is bad, but
I still hate it.
The sequence was great. The actual beach off was amazing. The Barbies vote to end patriarchy or keep their constitution. I forget exactly how that goes down. And then Ken is like,
because the Kens were going to change the Constitution that day, but they didn't.
They didn't
because they had to wait a day or two to do it, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's when they had to wait to the day of the election. So everything gets put back to normal. Ken is like, I don't know what to do now. And Barbie's like, but you're Ken. It's Barbie and Ken. Like, I'm Barbie, you're Ken. Like, we're people. We're not a couple, but we have our own stories. And then the creator of Barbie.
I gotta step in here. It's not that she says it's Barbie and Ken. She says it's Barbie and also Ken. And also it's Ken.
And
that's
also it's Ken. Right.
He's his own thing now instead of just Barbie's like accessory.
Right. It's Barbie and it's also Ken. Right. And then the creator of Barbie comes in and has like a whole thing where she explains everything to Barbie and then turns Barbie into a person. And then Barbie ends the movie by going to her, I guess, first gynecologist appointment. End of movie.
And last, I assume, unless she got a vagina from I was confused about what this joke meant in the moment. I was like, oh, is she a human now? But then I read some people afterwards. It's like she still isn't, but she's just going because she wants to go to.
Oh, I got it that she was a human.
That's what I thought too.
The whole ending is that the whole like ending bit with Rhea Perlman is her deciding to be human.
Yeah.
So yeah, my read on that situation was like, yeah, she's going to her first gynecologist appointment because she's human now and she needs those.
I thought that was true. I think I read something in a Greta Gerwig interview that kind of made me think it was the opposite. Thank you, Vulture, for paywalling this. I'm going to try to find it. But I don't know. But for some reason, I read it that way. Anyway, that's the end of it, right?
Yeah, I did it. I hope I did.
That's the very last thing.
Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it.
Nothing super important.
I figure we'll get into the finer details as we talk about it, because we're on a theoretical time limit now. So I'm so nervous.
That's right. But cool. Very good.
So what did you think of the movie Nando?
I thought it was pretty good. I think maybe for me, just for me, I think we got our hopes up a little too high that this was going to be the greatest movie ever made. And it was going to be the most, like, I think as a comedy, the movie's great and like really firing on all cylinders. I think the energy of the movie is a little, the movie has two speeds, let's say. It has monologue straight to camera speed and it has Anchorman. And I don't dislike the monologue straight to camera, but I do think coming right after the Anchorman bits, it's a little weird. That's my biggest issue with the movie, besides all the Mattel stuff. But I think overall, the movie is very funny and it's leagues better than anything you would expect they can make. But also, I think it mostly comes down to performances because Ryan Gosling is amazing. And like, I think it's a little bit of a problem that leaving the Barbie movie, my first thought is, man, that Ken really rocked. But he's putting in an effort that is Herculean in this. He's so funny. And that I think was great. And the Margot Robbie was good. And I think most of the acting and like writing was solid and looked cool. But yeah, I just leaving it every single line of Ken's that I could remember. I was like, oh my God, that's one of the funniest things I've seen in a movie in a very long time. So yeah, I didn't dislike it, but there were parts I liked more than other parts, and those parts were mostly the comedy parts. Diggins, what about you?
I go third. DJ, what did you think?
Hooray!
Oh, yeah, that's right. DJ competed against me. I forgot.
I really like this movie. I think I agree that it didn't live up to the hype that was stated. I also think like I felt weird leaving the movie. I talked about this with Michelle because like this ending was just so kind of like open and almost unresolved as far as what like the rest of the movie was dealing with. Like I thought all the bits were good. I thought all the jokes were good. I thought Ken was amazing. I didn't like Mattel. I thought like there could have been either more Will Ferrell or no Will Ferrell. Like if you go back and look at the movie, you could have no Mattel in this movie and it would be so fine. It would probably be better. But like is not, and I don't know, I'm like doing a little theorizing here. Nando, do you and I, and we'll see what Diggins say, but did we love Ken so much because like we were the audience for Ken? Like Ken was there for us?
No, I mean he's there for us, but I think he's there. I think what Ken is doing is for everybody because he's not trying to like make a strong case for patriarchy in a way that would, men would love. He's being the dumbest guy ever. I think the thing about Ken that makes him so likable is like Will Ferrell and these, Anchormans and like Derek Zoolander, the other character that I think he feels a lot like. He's allowed to be an idiot with a lot of personality, and that is just really funny to watch. Like a confident idiot is about as good as comedy can be. I think that's why like Ghostbusters works the way it does. Like I think that's why Superbad works the way it does. And I don't think Barbie gets to be that, but I think whichever character got to do that would be the funniest one.
See, I actually think Barbie does get to be one of these comedies that we'll look back in 5 years and like, because people, not people, like idiots on X always lament, oh, what happened to the comedies, man? You couldn't make a Super Bad anymore. You couldn't make a Tropic Thunder. You can't make movies anymore. But this is one of those. This is like a funny, good comedy that I think like will age well and is like pretty friggin' entertaining.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the character that gets to be the funniest in this movie just happens to be Ken in this.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think Barbie has her moments, but I think she gets most of the dramatic weight later in the movie.
Yes.
And if you like the movie like largely as a comedy, that's most of Well, that's a lot of it is Ken.
It's interesting, and then I promise I'll get to Diggins. I'll stop. But like the movie has a lot to say in the middle of the movie, which I think is good. But then like at the end of the movie, it like literally is like saying something about like, and here's how we're gonna end like this Barbie story. And I don't
hate that.
And I don't know that you needed that. It felt like superfluous. And I think that was like my biggest gripe leaving the theater.
Like whenever a character says my story isn't over, it's like, okay, protagonist, great, we're doing this.
Yeah,
again.
and I'm like,
we just got out of Oppenheimer and he was able to hold back. Please. This is the mind virus is caught on. This is the real Hollywood mind virus.
Yeah. So that was like my only real like gripe with it, where it's like it said so much good stuff during the movie. It didn't need to like be like, and here's like the story. I'm like, no, you don't need that. So anyway, but I'm an idiot man who doesn't know anything, obviously. So my opinion doesn't count. Just kidding. But here's someone whose opinion does count. Diggins, what did you think?
Well, I'm not kidding when I say you're an idiot man. Doesn't count.
Fair.
But I also really enjoyed this movie. I feel like the dramatic stuff worked better for me than it did for you guys, because I did like that overall, but also I like it in a way where I understand why you guys didn't.
Okay.
Which is to say, I am famously on this podcast, so not famously at all, a person who really enjoys a movie that takes huge swings and is chock full of ideas, even if all that stuff doesn't really work out 100%, which is, I think, fits this movie to a T. It is trying to do so much in its 2-hour runtime, and it can't possibly actually pull all of it off, which is also, in a weird way, also kind of the point, because the whole point of the movie is that it is impossible for a person to be everything. So in a weird way, it makes sense that the movie also just can't be everything.
Okay.
Which is, a very conceptual kind of thing, which again, I understand if it's something that does not work for you. But I mean, you guys are totally right. This movie's incredibly funny. Ryan Gosling is unbelievable. I can't believe we haven't been letting him do comedy this whole time.
Right?
He's too handsome.
Yeah,
he was able to slip by, but if he wasn't as handsome, just a little bit less. I mean, I think Crazy Stupid Love is pretty funny, and I think he's very funny in it. And that was about 13 years ago. That's the first sense I got from him that he could be funny. But again, the big takeaway in that movie was look at his abs and him picking up Emma Stone, I think was kind of what we as the culture got from it. So we couldn't help ourselves either. But yeah, he's so funny.
Maybe look at his abs will end up being all we take from Barbie.
Exactly.
As well. Who can say? But yeah, no, he's an unbelievable performer. I think all the performances in this movie are great, but he's just he is definitely number.
It's out of 10.
I agree with you guys.
It's out of 10.
Yeah, it's like I think it might be his best performance. My favorite performance of his.
Damn.
Yeah,
I think there's a strong case for it. I agree. The Mattel executives are the one part where I'm like, this feels like where she wanted to do something, and the Mattel executives were like, no, we have to be good though.
Yeah. Also,
we have to be in on it. Come on.
They're the only part of the movie that feels like they could be reshot and added into post. Like there's some scenes that they're in where none of the other actors are in frame.
And the movie in Barbie Land.
Yeah.
Yep.
And some of the fights and like the fight scene, they're just there, but like they never interact with anyone. Like obviously they interact with certain characters in Barbie Land, but like compared to the other characters who are always on set behind everybody else, like that's the part that I don't know if there were reshoots on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they came from.
I will say Will Ferrell's executive at the end did deliver what I found to be one of the funniest lines in the movie.
Which one was that?
Call me mother?
No. It was just a very matter-of-fact way in which he said, her ghost has an office on the 17th floor.
Oh, yeah.
That got me pretty good.
I think he's funny in it. I think his face when he's getting the secret whispered to him, and he makes that kind of goofy like child opening presents on Christmas Eve face. Like, he's great at what he does.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like basic Will Ferrell putting him into a movie. Like, it's the same. It's kind of the same as Kate McKinnon, where she just will turn in a great like comic performance. The question is, does the movie need her? And I think in this case, the answer is yes. But with him, the answer is no.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, no. So but I like the dramatic stuff. I felt like the ending wasn't superfluous because the Barbie's whole thing is this quest for, like, she starts having this existential crisis, thinking about death, having cellulite, etc., because of America Ferrera playing with her. And it becomes this whole kind of like spiritual journey of like, what does it mean for me to be a Barbie? Like, what does it mean to try to be everything? And for her to, get to the point where she is like, what do I want myself to be? What do I want to be an idea that represents this unattainable like perfection, or do I want to be a person? And I feel like that's kind of like pretty key to the movie, in my opinion, because like I said, the whole thing is kind of like this impossibility of being everything. Ultimately, like, I don't know, there's so many criticisms you can make of this movie where I would be like, that's fair, that's right, you're not wrong. Like, it doesn't ever end up really engaging with the criticisms of Barbie like that the kid delivers.
Yeah.
I mean, it does in like kind of a roundabout offhand way, but never directly, never like strongly.
In that way that you feel like a movie made by a corporation can't.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody else made the, what would be the off-brand Barbie? Like, what's the, Jenny or something movie where the doll is Barbie, but the movie isn't made by Mattel. I think they could get a little bit more like, cracking down at that stuff.
I do think Greta Gerwig did manage to slip in a lot of subversion that went over stupid executives'
I
heads.
agree.
Yes.
I think she is smarter than the people who paid her and was able to get some shit in there, right? Yeah.
Because, like, ultimately, I don't think this movie really does, like, make Barbie the doll, like, something cool or, like, something, like, it doesn't make it look bad, but it's not like the end of the movie is, like, Barbie is great either.
No,
it's kind of like, Barbie's impossible. And, like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, which is not necessarily a super pro Barbie message. But yeah, no. So, like, there's so many criticisms, etc., that you can make that I don't even disagree with. But it's just, I don't know. There's some sort of indelible, like, the ambition of it, the audacity of it. I think the clever ways it does manage to be subversive, even though it is ultimately a corporate property. I think all of that really endeared me to it in a way that I really like this movie.
Yeah, I will say, because I did sign on to DJ's criticism, I don't think the movie is necessarily, I don't think the ending is superfluous, although I really did hate that you didn't answer Barbie's storyline, because I just don't like those. I think the ending makes sense in terms of the context of the movie. I do think it's just kind of like a little too on the nose for me, I guess maybe is my thing.
Okay. Sure.
Like Barbie and Ruth going into the shadow realm to talk about like the meaning of Barbie and the meaning of patriarchy was like, I get it, but like, I don't know. Just felt a little much.
Well, like what kills me is like at the end of the movie, because I feel like I was more interested in knowing how does like America Ferrera and her daughter's story wind up, because that's more of like what's hanging. But it's like it's not about them, but like it kind of is, right? Like America Ferrera is just there at the end of the movie to be like, being a woman is fucking hard and it sucks, and it also sucks being a mom and it's fucking hard. And like,
especially when your kid hates you. She sucks. She should go back to medieval times, or what was that movie? Olden Times, I guess, the 65 movie. That's where she belongs.
Yeah, and like,
let's let Adam Driver raise her.
That's fine and like all valid. I'm obviously not going to dispute any of that. But at the end of that, I kind of want to. All right, well, what do you get out of this versus like what does Barbie get out of this?
Yeah, you do kind of get a sense at the end of the movie when like everything's kind of wrapping up. It's like, I don't think that like the ending would be necessarily like Mattel CEO Will Ferrell like completely abdicating his position and going, "You are in charge of Barbie." But it is wild that she doesn't get like a promotion or something as like the kind of reward for this, or some sort of like.
Well, they do take her regular person Barbie idea.
Yeah, they take her idea.
Presumably she will become designer on. I think tells her to work on it.
I don't know about that, but maybe.
Is that Depression Barbie, the one that eats Starburst till her jaw hurts, looking at photos of her friends' bridal shower on Instagram or whatever?
Listen, I didn't hate that joke, but it didn't feel like it worked in the movie, or it didn't. Like, that's another thing that I'm like, that joke didn't work for me, because that felt like a thing that Saturday Night Live has done at least twice, like the fake Barbie commercial, but Barbie's depressed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys, you know what it feels like? It's not a Barbie sketch. It's a sketch for athletic wear that they did kind of recently, where the bit is you actually do like depressed things in your athletic wear instead of doing cool things.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I knew there was something that I was like, I'm getting flashes of this. Yeah. But also, that's not a Barbie that gets made in the movie, right? Like, what are we watching in that moment?
I thought that was like the existential crisis, like stereotypical Barbie was going through in that moment. Like, she was becoming depression Barbie.
Right, but the company isn't making that commercial. Doesn't exist. The company's making Ken stuff.
Oh yeah. See, that would have been interesting if like, oh my god. Okay, ready? I've mostly rewrites, whatever this segment's usually called. This DJV movies. So what you do is how you get the Mattel execs involved is like Barbie in the real world. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Is like, sir, like they started making depression Barbie. And they're making the more than the Ken stuff, and no one's buying depression Barbie, and everyone hates Barbie now. And like, that's how you get Mattel involved, is because Barbie is depressed, they're making depression Barbie.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to take that one level further.
Okay.
So the Mattel executives get a notice that something's changed with the Barbie machine that's hooked up to the Barbies that like is what makes the Barbies. So there's no person. It is just like a machine, and it's pumping out depression Barbies. Yeah. Oh no, we have to go down to Barbie Land to fix it. They go down to Barbie Land, they start fixing it. And then at the end, America Ferrera is like, no, these are selling. Like, this is something people want. There's an appetite for this, but just it's not like what you guys want to sell as Barbie.
Oh,
like this is,
ooh.
You know, this is validating people in the real world, because I do think they go instead like, Ken's selling out because we're making Ken dream houses. And I'm like, I don't think that's the point of the movie then. Or is it that the kids want the patriarchy? I don't know.
That was a weird plot point that came up, but then was just kind of dropped, where it's like, because it seemed like it was like all good. Like, they should have like, or that's the other one. You keep it as is, but Mattel is trying so hard. See, Mattel wouldn't have let this go in the movie, but Mattel was trying so hard to keep the patriarchy in Barbie Land because the Kendoms were selling so fucking well.
Yeah, that was the biggest part where I was like, oh, the executives wouldn't let her do what she wanted. When Will Ferrell was like, I don't care that the Ken Mojo Dojo Casa houses are selling. We're a company for girls, dang it. And I'm like, no.
That line was so weird.
No. That's not it.
Very reshooty.
Yeah.
But
I'm the mother of I'm the son of my mom's sister.
Mom's aunt.
My mom's aunt.
Or whatever. And there was just some stuff about them that was like, I guess it's not that it wasn't funny. It was that all those jokes felt like jokes I've heard a million times.
Yeah.
And I just don't, in a 2-hour long movie that is very funny and solid and doing new things, I have no time for that.
Yeah.
Also, this isn't a nitpick, but something I noticed, because it reminded me of this, because I only noticed it in the boardroom scenes. So you guys remember the like kind of soundtrack of this movie, or like the sting of like the Barbie, you know? I think a lot of it comes from that Dua Lipa song that they...
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They do it with the boardroom CEOs, although they kind of time it a little differently, and it's played on like a snare drum.
Okay.
And it's like the bum 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 bum.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I can't guarantee this for a fact, but that feels a lot like the song from Rugrats that the Cynthia doll dances to. I don't know if you guys watched Rugrats as kids.
Yeah, but I just don't remember
Cynthia,
this
she's
reference.
a really cool dancer. Cynthia Boogie to the Groove now. Like, that was something that I remember very well from that show.
Okay.
And in my head when I heard it, I was like, did they fucking steal the fake Barbie song from Rugrats for their Barbie movie? I don't think they did, but if they did,
I mean,
balls.
I'm like, fuck you, Nickelodeon. Absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
impressed.
Get fucking deleted.
I hope the Ninja Turtles steal Barbie in their new movie or something, and this creates a beef that destroys Hollywood.
Hey, here's a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Which of the original songs in this movie would you nominate for an Oscar?
I mean, the answer
is zero.
The answer is
right?
Which one will get nominated for an Oscar? The Billie Eilish song. Which one should get nominated for the Oscar, or which one is the one that made the biggest impression? It's the Ken
song.
Song.
Which one would you nominate? That was the question.
I'm just Ken for sure. Right? Is that not the majority?
That's
opinion?
the name, just Ken.
Just yeah.
What about you, DJ?
I mean, that's like the correct answer. I mean, if that song's the original song during the beach off, like where it's him and Simu Liu like going at it, like fucking that one.
All the songs they sing in the movie are original.
Okay. Yeah, I guess there's.
What about you,
There's no
Diggins?
singing
Would you
in that
do?
one.
There's the Pink song. That's the other one in the
Oh
beginning.
yeah.
That I think could maybe be a contender for this.
Yeah. Although I don't know, that one's like feels like really long and is so dependent on the visuals in the movie. I don't think it would work as a standalone song.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, yeah, Just Ken is unbelievable. Like what a triumph.
Yeah, and they do the thing with the I feel like they managed to work in like a Freebird little riff, like when they fight, just like Kingsman. And I love that. I do think it kind of shifts gears awkwardly back from the Dream Ballet into the final I'm Just Ken, because I have listened to that a couple times, kind of like, oh yeah, that was funny. Kind of relive those moments, and that's my only like criticism of it. But overall, yeah, I mean that is great.
Oh, sorry, to clarify, the song that all the Kens play on their acoustic guitars is not an original
That's
song.
like a Matchbox
no.
20 song, which was
You didn't realize
incredible, by the way.
That's true.
The shit like that I love. Like everything that like was just like the stereotypical man. Like oh, let me watch The Godfather and explain it to you. Like all that shit, I loved it so much.
The part where she says, "I've never seen it," and the guy was like, "You've never seen The Godfather?" I was
died.
like, I felt obliterated.
See,
from space.
okay.
I was like, "Oh no."
For jokes, I think I've seen that joke before enough that I wasn't in love with it. However, the Photoshop joke that comes before it really killed me.
that one's like
yeah.
fucking good.
A person explaining
God.
Photoshop is maybe the most annoying thing, but also it's like Photoshop is hard, so I get it. But yeah,
Which one of those did you feel the most personally obliterated by?
I mean, I don't really like The Godfather that much. Like, I think it's good, but I don't have strong feelings about it. But the Photoshop, I'm like, it is annoying that you have to select the layer. I'm right on Simu's side, but I'm also on Alexandra Shipp's Barbie's side, and like the fake world she's in. Of like, it's tough. Some of it's kind of counterintuitive, but so yeah. Also, I don't know. I what's the word? I just see myself as Simu Liu. I don't know what it is. So when he gets that bit in that moment, I'm like, that's me. We're just both cool and can do flips.
Yeah.
Unlike Ryan Gosling.
And
apparently.
you hate Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Gosh, what else was fun about this movie? You know what else I didn't love? If I'm cutting something, the narrator. I didn't think that worked. I think the movie kind of dropped it and then kind of picked it back up at the end. And I'm like, we're done with this.
Okay.
And then the narrator turns out to be Ruth, right? Or like there's like
No,
kind of a
there is
slide.
Helen Mirren.
No, I know. But that last narrator line fades into what Ruth is saying as she walks into set in the end. And I'm like, was this a twist? Did they like go like, oh. Ruth has been narrating the whole time because she's the god of the Barbies. But when they did that, I'm like, just make her the narrator then.
I don't think that's what it was.
Okay.
I feel like Ruth was just sort of, because she's the creator, she's sort of like the god figure, so she's sort of omniscient. But she wasn't the narrator. She just knew what the narrator was saying.
Gotcha. Let's see, what else was funny? What was your favorite line from the movie? Did anybody have a favorite line?
I mean, the Zack Snyder, like the Snyder Cut Justice League one, I'm like, yeah, get fucking roasted. Like, I thought that was so great. Like, I just have really strong opinions on the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. I love that.
I hope they remaster this movie every year and just add whatever the new one is. Got really strong feelings about Rebel Moon, so it's always relevant.
There'll be a lot of ADR sessions.
It's like Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Seeing the Guardians fly around in my head. How about you, Diggins? Do you have a favorite line?
God. I mean, I don't know if this is like, if I like sat down, watched the movie, and took notes, this would be what I'd pick. But it's something that has stuck in my head, and I really liked, so I'm going to say it. Which is at the end when Ken has lost, and he goes, you know, once I figured out patriarchy wasn't mostly about horses, I lost interest.
That was cute. Yeah, he really is incredible in this. Like every line he delivers, some are great, some are like okay, but still are very memorable because he has this crazy like taxi driver kind of energy a lot of the time where he's just seething with rage, and then also this like little Kronk kind of himbo energy, and those two mixed together are so weird.
I have to say, him being sort of the villain of the movie was not something I expected, and I think was a pretty welcome twist. I felt like it's not what I expected, but when we got there, I was like, this makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense, and also in the world of Barbie, to nitpick it, what is Ken's deal? Seal in the woods? Like I
He
understand.
lives on the beach. He's a beach bum.
Well, yeah, so like the way that they kind of frame Ken, I am like, listen, Ken, you don't necessarily like get to live in your dream house. However, you're in some shit. Like you and the Kens rebelling makes a lot of sense to me
Yeah,
because you are some weird underclass that doesn't quite make sense.
This is something that I think is actually like a super interesting thing to talk about with the movie, where it's like, again, I don't know that this idea fully coheres, but it is super interesting to think about, where it's like, yeah, they're making fun of the patriarchy and they have a lot of like quirks of men that like they're making fun of with it. But when you think about it, the whole Ken rebellion, the whole Kenbellion, is really more of a metaphor for like the first wave feminist movement than anything else.
Right.
And the ways in which it started like fully radical and like trying to enact these big sweeping changes, but then fell apart into infighting and was left with, especially towards the end when then I forget if it's the narrator or someone else says this is like, someday the Kens might even have the rights of women in the real world.
That is the narrator, yeah.
Where it's like very pointed, like that their attempts to be seen as equal failed as miserably as in many ways women's attempt in the real world has. Where I was like, there's something with that I think really tickles my brain in a way I like.
I agree. It is,
and one of those things that I think is quietly subversive about this movie.
Yeah. What is the deal with the horse stuff?
Horses
are fucking awesome.
Yeah, doesn't Barbie have horses? Isn't that something that is traditionally a Barbie thing?
Only Barbie has horses. Yeah. And Ken wants a horse.
Ken has beach.
But like the idea that horses are this masculine symbol in Barbie Land doesn't feel congruous to Barbie Land. It feels like if the Kents are going to bring something into Barbie Land that upends the balance of it, it has to be something that Barbie also is not known for, like motorcycles or something like that. The idea that it's horses is like, she has one, I assume, somewhere.
Maybe it's one of those things where as soon as it becomes popular amongst Kens, it becomes seen as a masculine thing. Like how in real life, where if women start liking something, it becomes coded feminine and therefore not cool for men to like.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. The what other bits were fun?
I
feel like there's something I'm forgetting that's good in this movie.
I thought the whole like the Mojo Dojo Kendom thing, like I thought that just like that stuff was like really like good. Where like it's he's becoming like full heel. It's like this full transformation, and like there was also something about it too where he's like it wasn't this over the top like rubbing in Barbie's face. It's like like I won, you lost, you suck, you're a woman. It's just like this is just how everything is because like patriarchy is great. Like this thing where like even when Ken was doing it, it's maybe because I'm a fucking man, where it's like you don't hate him while he's doing it. You're just like, oh, he's just like an idiot.
Well, he is the dumbest character in the movie for sure. Besides maybe Will Ferrell, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's another way in which like again the whole like Ken thing is actually kind of about like the allegory it is about women in real life, where it's like, yeah, the thing that he's reacting to is that he has been reduced to a figure that exists only in relation to Barbie. Like the narrator makes it pretty explicit at the beginning, where it's like he is only happy when Barbie is looking at him.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, when you live a life where you can only have worth in relation to how like your relationship with another person, or like they are the source of like meaning for you, then like, yeah, your life sucks and is like kind of empty and hollow, and you want to feel like a person on your own right, and like that is what Ken is trying to do, and he's doing it in a silly, funny and misguided way, but like that's the ultimate point, where it's like, again, another way I think this movie has ideas that I can tickle my brain in a way I like, where it is kind of quietly making you as a man consider the position of a woman without explicitly calling attention to that.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. My one thing there is I think in that metaphor, the idea that the Kens enslave the Barbies gets a little weird.
Yes. No, it doesn't work 100%. I agree.
Yeah. Because if they didn't do that, I do think it would be like, of course, yeah, this makes sense. And everybody would see it 1-to-1. But yeah, I guess then it would be too too fair. The idea of like, we have to restore the balance. It would be like, well, I don't know. But like freeing the Barbies makes sense as a third act. Like this is how we fix the problem.
I mean, ultimately, we can't like separate the real world connotations of patriarchy and men in power. Even though, like, we're not doing the Star Trek episode where it's like there's the racist species and the discriminated species, and the twist is that the racist species is black.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, you can't separate it from the real world context in that way without saying some really ugly stuff. So I get why it is the way it is. And I agree that because of that, the whole allegory is not like one-to-one, doesn't really work. But I think it's better this way than if you did try to make it one-to-one work.
I have a nitpick.
Yeah.
So we can get put on the chart. Not very nitpickable, these movies, by the way. Oppenheimer, for obvious reasons. And
it's hard to nitpick a movie that's just good.
Well, I think it's hard to nitpick a movie that doesn't take its own continuity seriously.
And it's surrealistic.
True.
Yeah. Like, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
Oh, how does a ghost have an office? Like, right? But here's a nitpick. Here's a...
What am I going to mock this clown? What am I going to say? That his shoes are too big? Doesn't work.
Viable nitpick for the Barbie movie. If America Ferrera is that good at driving, which she is in the getaway scene, and I know she says that's because her ex-lover taught her so good how to drive so good, but she's that good today, you quit your job and go into Formula One or some shit or something. Like, your drawings are good, I get it, but like, you gotta be just like, do driving now. You are now driving Barbie, not existential crisis Barbie.
I don't know. Well, and then between David Harbour telling me what a disgusting slop of a human trash I am, he did also point out that getting into racing is extremely expensive.
That's true. I do think America Ferrera could make some money if she put those drawings on like Instagram or something, build a following. Like, that seems like the kind of thing Instagram would eat right up. Existential crisis.
So she probably has like an NDA because she works for Mattel.
That's true. She shouldn't work for Mattel.
Yeah, I'd probably get her fired.
Yeah.
But that's fine. She can fall back on driving.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Actually, the most scene I felt in this entire movie was America Ferrera's husband sitting on a couch, slowly.
Bro.
Boligrapho.
Dude, when the little chime from Duolingo went off, Michelle like burst out laughing because she does Duolingo. So yeah, that destroyed her. But ding! I mean, anyone who does Duolingo, I believe you Duolingo, Diggins.
Yeah. I Duolingo every day.
It speaks to those people deeply,
more or less.
So yeah.
Speaking of
I'm a little further along on the Spanish track than America Ferrera's husband, though. Sorry, Nando, you tried to do a transition.
I did, but it's okay. Speaking of Dua things, do you guys recognize? There's some cameos in here that I think went over my head. One was Dua Lipa.
Yeah, Little Mermaid.
She's a musician.
I'm only vaguely aware of who that is.
Yeah, me too. So I think she was the mermaid,
yep,
right?
she was the mermaid.
Next
to John Cena.
Every mermaid.
Yeah.
Was she every mermaid
that wasn't John Cena? Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. It's weird that they gave her two moments then, because it kind of felt like what kind of in my mind happened was that originally all three mermaids came up and did a wave, but then Dua Lipa's publicist called and it's like, we actually would like to work in one where it's just Dua Lipa. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, no, she got 4 little waves. Good for her, I guess. The other cameo I couldn't quite place was the white Ken that wasn't Ryan Gosling. Is he from something? The one who became Ken president?
Oh.
I didn't look this up. But like, there were 4 main Kens. Or 5, I guess. Ken, Simu Liu, obviously. Gravik, Secret Invasion Zone. Doctor Who. New Doctor Who, I guess. And then this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, who's he? So I assume he's somebody, but I did not recognize him. And I haven't gone through the cast enough to figure him out.
I'm looking at all the Kens here. Are you thinking of John Cena?
That's it, yeah. No, okay, I found him. It's Scott Evans.
Okay.
He's a guy who in the movie when I saw it, I kind of thought was that guy who's like the Deadpool, like schlubby Deadpool guy, but it's not him. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Peter
Deadpool's like friend?
No, the one that Deadpool recruits for the team that's just a normal guy in Deadpool 2.
Oh,
that actor, Rob something. I thought it was him.
I don't know that actor's name, but I know who you mean.
This guy's apparently from one episode of Insecure. Yeah, a lot of one episodes of stuff. Grace and Frankie, a couple episodes of that. I don't know where he came from. Did you see some of the Kens that didn't make the cut?
I did not.
Fucking the saddest thing for that. I'm sure these people would have died to get to Ken it up. Bowen Yang was apparently on the hook for Ken at one point. I know. Shame. And then Dan Levy was one of the Kens.
Well, he's probably too busy with Haunted Mansion.
Apparently, yeah. As someone that's seen that movie, I don't think he was. I think he would be able to fit both into his schedule.
Hey, do you guys know the name of one of the Ken's at the end who's working with Weird Barbie. The informal fan name for that Ken that is not mentioned in the movie.
Not Sugar Daddy Ken, a different one.
No. I'm talking about Magic Earring Ken. Has an informal name amongst the community. Do you happen to know what it is?
No, I don't.
That, my friend, is Cock Ring Ken.
Oh no!
I thought it was Gay Ken.
No, because look at him. He has a cock ring as a necklace.
Don't we all?
The
Guys,
theory.
take out your cock ring necklaces real quick and look at them. This is going to blow your mind. I feel like
the theory is that it was Ken from the 90s, and they the designers went to nightclubs and looked at fashionable people for ideas for the designs. But as queer culture was significantly less mainstream back then, they saw gay men cruising around, dressed up all nice with their cock rings, and didn't realize that's what they were, and thought they were just silly little round necklaces.
Bro,
funny.
What?
I did recognize the other guy. The Sugar Daddy Ken is the host of that show, Would I Lie to You? One of the British panel shows. I did not recognize the Ken you're describing. I'm trying to find him on the thing, but I guess I should just Google earring.
Tom Stoughton?
Yeah, but yeah, Rob Brydon is the one who is the other Ken. I was very pleased to see him. This guy is from About Time.
About Time, I think, is the only movie on this list that I recognize besides Barbie.
Yeah, I mean, he did. Yeah, there's not a lot. He's the voice of Alfie and Thomas and Friends. Thomas the Tank Engine. Seems like he does a lot of Thomas stuff, actually. So honestly, that's probably where the cash comes from. Good for him. But yeah, he seemed important too. Yeah, I also didn't recognize the other two Barbies that were in that scene. The Boobs Grow Big Barbie and the one that's TV. But I feel like those were probably actors I was supposed to recognize.
Well, that was a skipper.
Right. But those two people,
I don't think that skipper is anyone particularly famous because they don't have a link on this Wikipedia page.
Hannah Kalink Brown is the name of the actor. Yeah, she's not in too much stuff. Wait a second.
Or Barbie Video Girl was Meta Narrative.
That's a person's real name?
What's her stage name?
Oh, okay. It's like, shoot me. Is she Christopher Nolan's daughter? But wait, I'm seeing another actor in here. There is a Proust Barbie. Did they show that at any point? I know that gets name checked, but that's not a thing.
I don't recall.
Right? Interesting. Yeah, some of this stuff, it felt like me. It must feel like other people watching Secret Invasion and seeing characters and going I guess graphic is important. And then we're like, no, he's not. He's mentioned in the comics twice. But you just feel like when you see so many of these people, everybody has to be somebody.
Kingsley Benadir really threw off Michelle because
loved it.
She's like, I only know him as graphic, so I'm just looking at the screen and seeing graphic, and it's taking me out. And it's not the movie's fault, but they're too close. They're them being simultaneous was difficult for Michelle.
I haven't had that problem because I still haven't watched Secret Invasion, and God willing, I never will.
Well, I like that he got a little scene because he was always there in the background, kind of doing LeFou stuff. But then when he got the jacket, he did a little graphic speech of together we were separated, but now, yeah. I was like, oh no, guys, what? Don't let him get in the machine. Gotta protect ourselves.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that line. If we're talking about lines that killed me, it's not a great line, but the way that Ryan Gosling throws him the jacket, says, "You can have it." And then we see the jacket fly through the air. Then we look back at Ryan Gosling and he's still doing kind of the arms wide open, here. It's so funny to me. I do think the line of his that was my favorite was when they said something about patriarchy in the real world, and he says, "I will build my fortune there." That was incredible. Everything he said in that defining patriarchy scene of can I do one appendectomy or whatever? So funny. Also, I didn't say this before. I always love it when a dumb character or a weird character says words but drops all the what's the word? Not pronouns. So what is the
article? No.
Articles. Yeah, drops all the articles. Yeah. Loved how Ken was like, there might be beach there. Or when Weird Barbie's like, I smell like basement. Thought that was great.
Yeah.
I also liked when Ken was trying to get a job at a real life beach.
Yeah.
And just the back and forth of being like, oh, I don't want to be a lifeguard. It's like, then how would you save someone if they were drowning? I wouldn't even know how.
Yeah. And that guy is someone I recognize. He's from Sex Lives of College Girls, the lifeguard. And I was like, oh, him. Good for him. Seems like Man, if there's some cameos of like there's some people who it would be fun to be able to go to a bar and be like, yeah, I'm the guy who tries to attack Ken, and Ken does that breakdancing move and kills me, and like be able to say that forever. You get drinks for the rest of your life. Or like trying to think of another weird character in this movie that's like super memorable. The guy that says patriarchy, I didn't love. I loved the bit where Ken is just kind of doing the movements, like he's mirroring that person who's like kind of shutting out the woman in the conversation, just because it's so funny he's like a baby just like doing little motions. It's so funny. Well, you think I hear there's rumors that the Kens may get us, I mean, clearly we're gonna get every single spin-off that's possible. But the Kens does feel like the most fertile ground for something like that, because they end the movie starting their own movie,
right?
Like the search for the Kens or whatever. What do you think that ends up being?
I mean, what streaming services Mattel own? Like,
I guess they're in Warner Brothers, right?
Hasbro Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of IPs. We've gone through some of them, but like Rock'em Sock'em Robots,
Polly
Barney,
Pocket, Hot
Magic
Wheels.
8-Ball, Polly Pocket, and all of those things that we just mentioned are on the hook for things. They all have some sort of thing attached to them.
refuse.
I don't know, though. I think some of that is just to beef up quarterly numbers and make executives happy, because so much of this stuff never gets made.
They don't have writers.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have anyone to write these movies.
Yeah, like I feel like there is a Hot Wheels show that's actually in the process of being made now. That one I think we'll get.
Is that gonna be like a Cars?
I think the Lena Dunham Polly Pocket thing might happen, although I don't know. The reaction to it hasn't been super hot, so I don't know if they'll be really hyped for that. What else were they making? He-Man, they keep trying to start and keeps failing, which I think is so funny, because it's the only one that like is actually based off some sort of narrative.
Right.
Like you could pull from the cartoons and just make that, but they refuse. And I think Magic 8-Ball is a horror movie.
Oh, cool.
Or something. And then Barney is apparently a Daniel Kaluuya, like this kind of subversive meta thing. So that's good for Daniel Kaluuya.
I don't know, man.
No, yeah, I want a movie. This is something I thought of on the way home yesterday, or whenever I saw Haunted Mansion. I think if you want to do that, just send the Kens into one of them. Have the Kens go visit He-Man or something as part of their like Rumspringa of Ken to like discover what manliness is or something. And have that be spurned on by the Mattel executives who want a Barbenheimer. Just like, if we put the Kens near something, that makes it popular. Let's do this, because I want to make the bad guys the executives. And I think that's the easiest way to do it.
They should be.
And you can have them revitalize all these properties no one's ever going to touch, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I just assumed that Real Steel movie was a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie, and they just didn't say it, but apparently it's not. Do you guys watch Real Steel?
I've never watched it. I've heard it's better than you think. Be a good movie
for us. It's okay. I didn't mind it. It's got Hugh Jackman. I want to say like Anthony Mackie's in there somewhere. All the stars.
The skies are empty.
Yeah,
so the stars are in Real Steel.
I said this in my review. I think this will be a Broadway musical in the next 5 years.
Oh, 100%.
Too ripe. But apparently they tried to make a Barbie Broadway musical that bombed in the early 2010s. But it wasn't very good. But with this, I think they could get away with it.
Yeah, new life.
They got songs, they got dance numbers, and it's going to make $1 billion or something.
Do you guys think there's any chance Ryan Gosling gets nominated for like Best Supporting Actor?
Yeah.
0%.
No, you think 0? I think it's possible.
I do too.
There is no respect in that award show for comedic performances.
I think they'll do it once every like 15 years. And I want to say Tropic Thunder was in 2008, and that's the last time we've ever had one of those. So I think we're due.
Yeah, I think they'd be willing to acquiesce, because they're also getting more like, I don't know, because it was a Greta Gerwig movie, right? So like that lends some credibility. Because
I'm not saying Barbie the movie will get 0 nominations. I'm saying they will not nominate a comedic performance.
I think unless there's a big backlash, we get a Barbie Best Picture nomination too.
Yeah, I think Barbie Best Picture, Margot Robbie, director, and Ryan Gosling. I think I could see, and probably adapted screenplay. So like,
yeah, would this be adapted screenplay?
Right?
It's an original screenplay based off of an IP.
Yeah, I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah, I forget how they grade those, but whatever. Like, I'm sure screenplay will get nominated. So like, at least 5.
And original song.
Yeah, costumes probably. Actually, Barbie might like do super well. Yeah,
production design stuff, like all that. Everything but sound design.
Yeah, but hey, Barbie might like rack up nominations, and it's gonna be a Barbenheimer Oscars. Oh my god, the storylines are gonna be ridiculous.
And like, I think Oscars will want to glom onto this a little bit. Like, I think they'll want to gain some goodwill after their incredible, like, record of in our lifetime of like snubbing things that people actually like, and giving Anthony Hopkins the Best Actor award, stuff like that. Like, they've made enough flops that I do think if they have a safe bet where the highest grossing movie of the year, domestic at least, is also a movie that could conceivably be nominated for an Oscar, I think they'll do it.
Yeah.
Hell, if Avatar got Best Picture nominated, this definitely
100%.
will.
Yeah.
But I think Margot Robbie might not get it. I wonder who the Best Supporting Actor, like a female actor, would be in this. Like, would like Rhea Perlman
or
whatever
like
her name
Issa Rae?
Nah.
Or no, America Ferrera.
America Ferrera, maybe. Yeah. That's possible. Speaking of actors, women, is this movie woke?
Super woke. Like,
yeah, according to my good friend Ben Shapiro, it's the wokest movie that ever woked.
See, I think it is, except I do think, much like Oppenheimer, while this movie has a diverse cast, the core cast is quite white. And there was an unwoke version of this movie that was going to be made with Amy Schumer as the Barbie, but instead we got the Margot Robbie version, and Matt Gaetz thinks she's pretty. So for that reason, I think it's not woke.
Well, you're super wrong. It's the most woke thing ever. Men are the villain. It's so woke.
They're
the core
redeemed.
cast is really white, but I mean, like, America Ferrera and the little girl are Hispanic.
That's true. And they have probably the second most lines besides the main two, Barbie and Ken. I would say they are like the third lead.
I think this is the wokest movie we've done this year.
Out of your mind.
We've done a woker movie?
I mean, this movie can't be woke because it made a lot of money, first of all.
Oh,
second,
right, damn it.
The corporations
we
are good guys. They don't take any public
Oppenheimer.
transportation. It's so
But Oppenheimer
not
did
woke.
second fiddle to this.
Well, that's because they're on the West Coast, where public transportation is like a boogeyman they tell to scare children.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I don't know. What was the speech that the political speech that not political, the Supreme Court speech in the beginning of the movie? Doesn't anyone remember what that was about?
Oh God!
That
It was
woke or not woke?
like PACs and super PACs. Well, Citizens
Good or
United.
bad?
It was
Right.
Citizens United.
It was about how corporations aren't people.
They did reverse
That's
Citizens
pretty
United,
woke.
which makes them woke.
It does make them
Yep.
woke, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any get. Listen, I can't knock the hustle, Nando. I don't think there's any getting
Yeah,
around this one being woke.
Nando, I love the zag. I love it so much, but it's just not viable here.
I don't know. I feel like I think this movie has wokeness in its heart. And I think it's only been a week, so we haven't given the reactionaries the time to justify the wokeness, but I think they will, much like with Mario. And I think it will be this. I think it will be this, like, everybody like that kind of like, oh, we didn't think it was going to be woke, but then, none of the characters were a different race than they are in the video game, and that means it's not woke. But, yeah, I also played Matchbox 20. That's not that woke, is it? Characters tried to build a wall.
Yeah,
but they did a bad job. Yeah, we're doing talk about Alan.
But they were
in
the
this.
bad guys. People building the wall. That means it's woke.
That's true. What is Alan's deal?
He's Ken's friend.
Yeah, but like, do all Ken's clothes really fit Michael Cera? I don't know about that.
You sure about that?
I'd like to see him put on Ryan Gosling's clothes. Yeah. Like some of those outfits, I don't think he could wriggle into that cowboy Ken outfit that he gets for the middle of the movie. I do like that he gets that line of "I'm Alan, all Ken's clothes fit me." I do believe that was that character's, like, that Barbie doll slogan.
I also like how he said, "This has happened before. All members of NSYNC are Alan." Yes, even that one.
Yeah.
You know what is not mentioned in the movie, but is Barbie canon?
Oh,
What?
Alan is the father of Midge's child.
Oh, what?
They're
That
married.
makes sense. I buy it because he's like, I feel like all the Kens are just being little, like beach toy guys fighting each other, while in reality it's like Michael Cera's just in Barbie world impregnating all the Barbies. Like, he's figured out a system where he's like, oh, Ken, he's looking at you weird. All right, you guys go have fun. Me and the Barbies are just gonna go do a party.
No. He doesn't. Alan is not for the Barbies.
Oh, he's only for the Midge. Yeah, that's right. Wasn't Barbie pregnant at 1.2? I remember.
I think that was
I don't
Midge.
think I feel like they did both. I think they made a pregnant Barbie, and then they made this Midge thing. Then they also, I thought, made a pregnant Barbie with a snap-on belly. It was like magnetic. You guys remember this?
I do, and I thought that was Midge.
Oh,
I think it's just Midge.
interesting. I mean, I do trust this movie in the canon and stuff.
Oh,
like
Mattel
that.
will not let you have anything else be the case.
Yeah. Oh, the pregnant Barbie's gross too. It has like a little belly, but the belly snaps off, and the belly has the baby fetus.
Little
in
fetus.
Horrible.
That's
horrible.
disgusting. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess you're right. It was Midge. It is weird that the Barbies, because Barbie, I'm almost positive about this. So there's the Stacy's, right?
Yes.
That are, which we don't see any of because one of them drowned a kid or something. And I imagine then they were all put in jail. That was the explanation that Will Ferrell gives for like the previous Barbie disaster.
Was that a Stacy? I thought it was a Skipper.
Oh, Skipper, sorry. There's another child. I don't remember if that one's Stacy, but I do think there are other named Barbies that are not Barbie. That we didn't see. I kind of wanted more of them. But yeah, Midge is apparently... Wait a second, hold on. Oh yeah, you're right. Midge was introduced as Barbie's best friend. Oof, didn't work out well for her. Interesting. But yeah, Skipper. So there's Skippers, and then there's Stacy's, and those are the littlest ones. But then apparently there's also a Chelsea or a Kelly that is also littler than them. Interesting. Some of these Barbies are pretty funny. Like, I think you could get away with making a funny Barbie movie where you do just introduce Barbies. Okay, I wasn't crazy. Christy was Barbie's first African-American friend character. They did make Barbies of different races, but they gave them different names originally. And I'm on the Barbie Wikipedia page right now. I understand why they didn't do this here, but I was like kind of remembering that differently. My sister had some Barbies. Did any of you guys have like Barbies around you? I know, Diggins, you have a couple sisters.
Yeah, my sisters did.
Only child,
I would
bruh.
love it.
So
Yeah.
nothing ruined my childhood by confusing me with weird gender toys. G.I. Joe's all the way.
Yeah, I would love it if they crossed over that Barbies with any other toy line, like any toy line for boys, because the Kens, let's say, would be like 8 feet tall compared to the 5 foot tall He-Man action figures, which are notoriously small. They're all like crouched down and in like action poses. So that would be fun. Yeah, I mean, any other thoughts about Barbie?
No, we're good.
The movie or the doll?
Either.
Did we hit our ratio? Did we do?
Yeah. What's the time here?
We're a little early on Barbie, but I feel like we've said everything we've said. And
well, hold on, we got to drag it out. How
no,
much
we
time
don't.
left?
I mean, I'm seeing 5 minutes here, but I do think maybe it's wrong. You know, maybe that clock is fast. Who knows?
I refuse to lie to our listeners.
Well, no, it's not lying to them. It's actively not listening to them. So.
It's actively disregarding them.
Which I'm totally okay with.
I don't know. What else was the Barbie in this? There's John Cena was in it. That's great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad this wasn't like nothing but cameos, but I am glad that a couple people like that managed to squirrel their way into this. I'm happy for them.
These movies, big ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of people showing up.
Full of Marvel guys too. A lot of
much Marvel.
Your Shang-Chi's and your Iron Mans and such. I know people made this joke, but both of the protagonists were psychiatrists who antagonized Batman and after going crazy or whatever because of magic chemicals. So that's fun.
Like that.
You can only throw a stone so far in Hollywood before you hit one of these guys, like one of these superhero something or other.
Especially if you're limiting yourself to like big name actors.
And even some of them that aren't that yet. Like I do think Ryan Gosling has kind of talked about wanting to play Ghost Rider. And I think after this, besides the fact that there's writer strike and actor strike, and the fact that Marvel has no money and everything's bad now, they probably should make that. Like I think he's
other than all of that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff being aside, just let him do his movie. He's great. He'll probably be pretty good. Can't be worse. Yeah. Although it probably won't be as funny. I have heard people say, and I think this is true, he has risen in the ranks in the booster gold potentials in a way that had not been seen, since maybe what's his name in Top Gun, the hunky guy in that, whose name I can never, Glenn Powell was the other one who I remember after that came out, people were like, whoo, now that's a booster gold. But
confident idiot is the prerequisite for being booster gold.
Confident hunky idiot. I think that's the thing that people always forget about Booster Gold. He is a former football player who bet on football games and then had to go back in time because he was disgraced. So like, it can't just be any guy. It has to be someone who's kind of like a jock. And obviously we have plenty of those in Hollywood, but not all. Or we can just put you in the Chris Pratt machine and turn you
also
into
an
one
option
afterwards.
Stop drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I think so
everything in
too.
this
I
movie.
feel pretty good.
I think what was fun that we really talked about. I do think the fight choreography and stuff like that was
Yeah.
good. Honestly, pretty solid.
Fight/dance choreography.
Yeah, and even just like the scene where Michael Cera beat up guys, I was like, this is okay. Better
Yeah.
than it had any right
It's
to
good.
be.
Did you guys see the like behind the scenes pictures of like the rotating like real screens and like conveyor belts they used for the driving scenes and stuff?
I did see that. Was cute.
That was really cool.
Those look pretty good. Everything looked good. I liked it when they were on the beach and then those pieces just kind of showed up behind them, like as if they were brought off screen, which is what it seemed like they were. But like that kind of practical stuff is cool.
Both of these movies, big on practical effects. I mean, no CGI.
No
like
CGI,
nothing,
Diggins. None whatsoever.
I don't think any big budget movie gets made nowadays with no CGI. I don't think it ever happens.
I mean, you just with Tig Notaro replacement alone, and almost every movie has some version of that.
But the important point is, it all was on a base of practical existing stuff, and that always looks so much better.
Yeah, and it was in costumes. I think costumes is when it really gets bad, when like they haven't decided what the Avengers look like, so they just wear blue screens and then they fix it afterwards. Like all the costumes in this were pretty defined. I do think most people were wearing them on the day.
Just super strong visual design in general.
Yeah. I mean, if Ryan Gosling shows up that ripped, you got to bring it. Not going to just throw on any, t-shirt from the Gap. You're going to find some good stuff. But I do think that will be a Halloween costume. That is like a big one. But yeah, we'll see. And time is up.
Awesome.
Guys.
Ready to get to our classic segment?
And this is going to confuse people because we do kind of cut the time out sometimes. Like we'll delete silences. So anybody that's listening to this and it's like, no, it's not. It was. You guys,
we shortened it down to not make it a 4.5 hour podcast.
That's right. DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the
Oh my God. Yeah. So I think my recs are going to start becoming really lame because I don't do anything anymore because,
because you're a parent and parents are basically the most boring form of human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and parents are gifted one entertainment a week, and you have to use yours on this. So.
Yeah, and I had to go into debt because I used 2.
Exactly.
So I'm screwed.
Well, luckily, DJ, next week, no entertainment. It's not. I wouldn't qualify it as an entertainment.
I guess
it is a chore.
Tell that to my wife.
Good luck.
We're getting the sitter.
No, don't.
We're getting the sitter for next week. So all right, I got 2 things real quick. I told this to Diggins before we started, but Nando, are you familiar with the Immaculate Grid?
No. What's that?
Okay, so you can Google it. I think it's just immaculategrid.com. But what it is it's a little so people got their daily Wordle, which is cool, or daily like guess which part of the globe this is, or whatever. But this is your daily little sports thing. So it's a 3x3 grid. You have 9 guesses, so you got to go perfect if you want to be Immaculate Grid. But essentially on the this started with baseball. Where on the x-axis you would have 2 teams, sometimes 3 teams, or like a stat. So today's is on the y-axis. You have St. Louis Cardinals, Angels, and then 40-plus home run season batting. And then the x-axis, you have San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres, and Gold Glove. And what you do for where these intersect, you have to name a player that matches that. So you need to name someone who played for the Cardinals and the Giants. You have to name someone who played for the Angels and had a Gold Glove. And you got to get it exactly right. And the more obscure player you can name, the better score you get. So if it's a player that had been picked by like less people because they were from for baseball, like the late 1800s or whatever. But then
this is tough.
It's super tough. It's awesome. They have it for football, baseball, and hockey. Football, basketball. Yeah, they have it for like football, basketball, baseball, hockey. I guess 4 major American sports. But it's really fun. I think baseball is the best for this because it kind of lends itself. There's so many players in baseball and it's such a long history. Football is fine. I think the basketball and hockey are like decent, but I really like the football and baseball one. So you want a little daily sports trivia? There you go. Here's a little daily sports trivia. And then the other thing I want to recommend, this is weird, but I went to Costco and they had this bread from this bakery called the Lady Baker, and it's so fucking good. There's Kaiser rolls. They're so good. So shout out to the Lady Baker. I think the bread is so good. Go to your local Costco. I think you can order it online. It's like really good bread. Because that's where I'm at. I'm recommending bread, motherfuckers. So yeah, my recs are going to get so much less interesting. And I know what you guys are like, but wait, DJ, you've had a kid for like a year. And it's like, yeah, now he's a year old. So it's like much more time consuming and just, eats up all of my energy. So
Now you got to watch him every single second of every single day, so he doesn't tumble down the stairs or eat a bunch
Picks
of
up
pills.
everything. So it's great. But yeah, those are the things. Check out the Immaculate Grid and eat some fucking bread. Diggins, what do you have to recommend?
I watched a couple movies this week. The first one is called Killer's Kiss. This is one of the first movies directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh.
As far as like the story of the movie goes, it's nothing particularly special. It's a noir. It's very short. It's only like 70 minutes. But it's a film noir about like a down and out boxer who meets a dame that he falls in love with, but she's like her boss at the sock hop she works at, or whatever. It's some dance hall. I don't know. They don't use the word sock hop. That's a 50s thing. She works at like some dance hall, and her boss there is like obsessed with her, and is kind of a gangster. So things spiral from there. It's pretty by the numbers as far as the writing goes. The dialogue's not great, and the actors are fine, but you can really see Kubrick's visual style already like very strong this early in his career. Like the way he uses light and shadow, and like the way he like the dynamic framing he uses for so many shots. Like it really elevates the material in an interesting way. So it's definitely not one of his best movies, especially because he didn't write it. One of the only movies that he's directed that he did not write. But as like a little thing to go back and see like how his style was already developing so early in his career, I think it's interesting. I also watched a movie called The Homesman from 2014. This was directed by and second billing starring Tommy Lee Jones with Hilary Swank. It's a Western about like out in the territories, a few women have like had mental breakdowns because of how difficult it is to live in the West, and so Hilary Swank volunteers to be the person who transports them back east where they can receive like medical care. And Tommy Lee Jones is a claim jumper who almost gets hanged, who she recruits to come with her because she needs some help. And it's just this very sort of bleak portrait of life in the American West, especially for women, that it takes a big turn like 3/4 in that I'm not sure how I feel about. I don't know if it was the best choice for the movie. But that being said, I think overall it's still a pretty good, if very depressing, film. I think Hilary Swank and Tommy Lee Jones are both putting in great performances. So yeah, I had a great time with that. What about you, Nando? What do you have to recommend?
I've been watching a lot of stuff too and been playing some stuff. I would say the main thing that I watched this week was I watched that movie Blackberry. Speaking of corporate propaganda, it starts with a B and ends with the E, and the E sound, not the E letter. And it's exactly what you want from one of those, where it's just like they do the business and the business guys are bad and then the business is bad. It's one of those two where like it's not like Barbie where I think it's built to glorify BlackBerry as a brand. Like who gives a shit? I don't even think you can buy them anymore. But it's pretty good. Glenn Howerton's great in it, and I think he's like doing full Dennis from Always Sunny, but a little bit more. So hard to not enjoy at least a little bit. I do think I watched some TV show this week, but I can't remember what it was. I have played a game that I really gotten into called Chaya. Did you guys hear about this?
No,
I don't think so.
It's about a little girl. Oh gosh, I had to Google this. So I got it wrong. It's very specific to. Okay, so it's from New Caledonia. The game and the kid. And it's set there, I think. It might be set in like a fictional place that is supposed to be New Caledonia. But either way, it's about this kid who she can warg into objects. So that's like her superpower. And basically sometimes she can like warg into an animal, make it run around. A lot of times she can warg into a rock and make it like flip and stuff. But it's it's this really bizarre story. But the game itself lends to that kind of nice little exploration and like kind of, oh, look, a person, let me help them with their thing. And it's made by like this small game company in this country. So, it's like not as deep as Breath of the Wild in terms of gameplay, but you're a little bit more sympathetic. And overall, I think it's fun. It's got a really dark plot at times, which is kind of funny. But we found it on, I don't know, PlayStation Store or something. And we're like, this will be a good thing for a day or two. Obviously, After Party's still going strong. I would say the X-Men comics this week have been particularly insane. This was the first book in the Fall of X storyline where the X-Men, have one of their famous "we all get genocided every 10 years" kind of moments. It's not exactly what this is, but like it's one of those. So if you haven't read that, I would say give it a look, but also it's kind of a bummer. And I think that's it. Is there anything else you guys what are we doing next week?
The Haunted Mansion.
Right. That's the other thing I saw this week, so we'll get to that next week. Do you guys have anything to plug, DJ?
Yeah, check out Roses and Rejections as always. Also, we have moved our socials off of X. We are off X. We are on Instagram and Threads.
I mean, we're definitely still on X, right? Or are we gone from X?
I'm talking about Roses and Rejections.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure our poll was
No, mostly the picking's still on X. But Roses and Rejections, we're off of X. We all of our socials moved to Insta and Threads. Because we're off of X now. We don't want to be on X. Just we're moving off. Check out also Michelle and I were on an episode of the Socially Distanced podcast where we did episode 5 of Secret Invasion, probably irrelevant now. We gave our thoughts, and one day I want them to invite me to an episode of something I enjoy. Because I think the last episode Michelle and I did before that was Book of Boba Fett. So I've sounded like a real grouch on all episodes I've been on. But one day it'll be something I like. That's all I got. Diggins.
Nope. Nando?
Yeah, videos and stuff. I got a video coming out that will be on YouTube probably before this goes out, but after this goes out, before the next one goes out. That is my Midnight Suns pitch. And then after that, my video that should go on Nebula around that time is my fan casting all of James Gunn's friends in the DC movies. So I go through mostly the Guardians cast and just say, like, this one should be this. And I think I got some good ones. Some are kind of deep cut characters that obviously James Gunn loves. And then some of them are just like guys who we know are going to show up. And it's like, that one could be that. And that is fun. Besides that, I put out a couple Nando Cup videos, like my Secret Invasion one that is satisfying, and I think needs to be said. Barbie one was out. I don't think I might put a Haunted Mansion one out soon, but that's all I got. So next week, speaking of that, the Haunted Disney's The Haunted Mansion, I believe is what we're supposed to be calling it. Until then,
sorry, I think last one was The Haunted Mansion, and this one.
You're right. Disney's Haunted Mansion.
That's it.
Yeah. So if you want to listen to our The Haunted Mansion one, you go back like 3 episodes. But until next week, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
On X.
I mean, I'm not on X, that's right, and on Blue Sky and stuff. I'm not really on Threads as much.
I am still on X inexplicably, even though I don't really check it anymore, at Zippy by Day. But if you want to get a hold of me, go on the Discord. That's where you can find me, at DJ on the Nando's Discord, and then that's how you can actually reach me.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name on X, and as I've said before, either X dies or I die. Those are the only situations in which I leave.
Well, talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We love you.